That's about the best Friday intro you will hear on radio, if I do say so myself. What? Got it? No. Yeah, got it. It's on. Hi, good morning. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan. Got a new banner up there. Looks really sharp. You can follow us on YouTube. Watch us there if you want to watch us and see what we're doing, what we're wearing. Who are you guys wearing today? I'm wearing Fury pants and a fresh, clean t-shirt, as I do every single day of my life. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
I am donning the City Connect collection.
Attaboy, you're looking great. You got the new banner up on our YouTube feed. It looks phenomenal. I love the tan. There. So you can go to YouTube, search Ben and Woods. You can follow there. A lot of ways to get your boys. And Ben Higgins is also here. Who are you wearing today?
I am wearing Link Soul.
Link Soul
by John Ashworth.
More like Rink Soul, because it's very, very wrinkled. Did you pull that out of the bottom of the hamper?
This is going to make you mad. I think it looks wrinkled because it's gotten loose because I've lost so much weight. I know you like that. 30 pounds is going to make your clothes fit a little different. I haven't really gone for the whole new wardrobe yet. I'm still wearing the old clothes. So yeah, there's just a little extra fabric now.
Do you know that
comfy though?
Do you know that it doesn't matter how big or small the fabric is, it can still be ironed. It has nothing to do with
settle down. Mr. puts all my t-shirts on hangers and hangs neatly in his closet.
That's not weird.
That's not weird. It's not weird.
I put them in a drawer.
That's
like
a
most
normal
guys.
thing to
Can we
do.
put a poll up and ask? Can we ask our tier one?
Do you hang your
Do you
shirts?
put your
hang your
t-shirts, casual shirts, not dress shirts,
So-
not button downs,
So
casual shirts. Do you hang them or do you just stick them folded in a drawer?
was that ever folded?
Yes, it was folded.
Yeah, it was folded at John Ashworth's Link Soul store in Oceanside. Was the last time
It
that
gets
was folded.
folded after I wash it. I fold it.
Ben,
I cram it into the drawer with all the other shirts, and it gets a little rumpled.
when I used to go out,
You wear it for like 30 minutes, an hour. It heats up. It irons out itself.
when I used to go out for like 2-day benders, that's what my shirt would look like when I would come home. When I would leave on Friday night to go out to the bar and walk in at Sunday morning at 6 a.m., my shirt looked like that.
I just don't think it looks that bad. I look at the two of us up there on the screen. How what is there any difference? There's no difference at all.
I love the any chance I can to work in I've lost 30 pounds bit is my favorite new bit. It is hot outside, probably because I'm thin, I would say.
You probably didn't notice.
You guys probably didn't notice. My car is actually going faster. I'm less heavy. I was going 120 to work. I usually only go 110.
Does that what get you out of a ticket? Sorry,
I lost all this weight.
I lost all this weight. The car is just going faster.
It's the wheels loose now. Like, I just don't know what's going on. I just don't know what's happening. Oh, it's my favorite new bit. You said, well, welcome in, everybody. It's great to have you here on a Friday. You can tell where our heads are at right now. Paulie asked me the question yesterday. Aren't you glad there's kind of no game tonight? No. This is last night, obviously. No, it just in my house, it just leads to more arguing and like just wheels off chaos. So that for us is our kind of like, hey, we can all settle in and watch the game and talk about the game. We got oh God, you guys, before you have been saying questions for me, but I actually wanted some advice. Got 2 little boys, as you know, one's 5 and one is 2, almost 3 in November. And the little guy, Taylor, Hannah and I were in the garage yesterday and having a conversation, and the phone rang. She goes, hang on, it's the school. I went, oh, God, this can't be good. This cannot be good. That little turd, apparently, at nap time, about 1 o'clock, is unloading blood-curdling screams at nap time. And not because I don't want to nap, like, no, but, hey, oh, you guys all want a nap? I'm not going to let you.
Ooh.
And there's more kids in the class. It's a pretty relaxed summer session, and they're playing in the water. They're having fun. It's really, really good, and they're still learning stuff. But he's not. They have added kids to his class, so he's not getting the attention that he used to get. Like one of the teachers would come over and rub his back till he fell asleep and come down. They can't. They got a bunch of kids they got to deal with, and he's unleashing these blood curdling screams. They're like, and I had to put her on speaker, and she's like, we don't really know what to, and I just turn red. I'm sweating. I'm like, I'll just go get him. Like, we just have to get him. Like, he can't be that kid
So
anymore.
you're saying that your child,
My child,
is a little prima donna who needs all the attention
to himself.
Paulie, where could this possibly come from
Well,
at all?
Probably not me, because it's not like Woods reads raps. It's not like Woods on. It's not. I mean, I give a lot of credit to my people.
You've met my children.
They're
They're
Woods and Ben.
It's not Woods and Ben.
My children are extremely well behaved, polite young men.
So are mine.
Just like their father.
They're only 5 and 2 though. But so we get him home, and I'm like, hey. And the other thing I've found about him now, the 5-year-old, I don't think we got one phone call about him when he was in school. Maybe one after school. Hey, can you make sure that? Yeah, no problem. He's a little angel. 2-year-old, man. I thought he was going to be the easy one.
Second one's always harder.
Holy crap, dude. And so Hannah and I are like, I don't know what to do. So you try to have a conversation with him at dinner. Try reasoning with a 2-year-old. Buddy, no more screaming. And he just looks at you and throws his spaghetti across the room. So I missed the Padres game last night because that's what I was dealing with instead. But hopefully, to the other parents out there, if you do listen, I'm really sorry that your kids are coming home unrested because of my little demon seed Taylor screaming at the top of his lungs. So hopefully it probably is just a phase that they all go through. But man, it was when that phone rings from the school, just panic, just pure panic. You just don't know what to expect.
It's never, almost never.
Hey, your kid's doing great today.
Yeah.
Just thought you should know. He's been very helpful and kind. Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You don't get that call. You don't get that call.
Oh, I have so many calls from schools coming up in the next 15 years of my life. It's not even funny, but man, it's hard to get mad at.
Eventually it'll become, what do you do now?
Yeah. What do you do? No, it's I mean, obviously, worth every second of the he's such a sweet kid, but yeah, he just has a little trouble at nap time, which is I don't think
He'll grow out of that.
He will grow out of that.
There'll be something else.
You said you had questions for me.
Well, yes, 2 questions. First, totally unrelated. First, I've known you for 5 years now. And generally in that entire time, our schedules are about the same. You get here earlier than I do. So I pull in and I park somewhere next to you.
Yes.
Every day that I have ever known you, you park facing nose in.
Correct.
Today, you backed into the parking spot, and it kind of freaked me out. Like, why did Woods change his behavior after all this time? I mean, there's no other cars there in the morning. But you chose to back into the parking spot. And I don't totally get people why do you do that? Why does that? I mean, if you have to really get out fast, like, all right, I'm going to be booking it. I just want to get out. Yes, once in a while, maybe that's the case, but didn't understand why you were backed into the parking spot.
A very simple explanation for this. Very.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you guys would notice. I was hoping that you wouldn't. Did anyone see my park job yesterday?
I did not notice yesterday.
No.
I am maybe the worst parker on the planet. You're right. I was the first. I think Paulie might have beat me here yesterday, but 90% of the time I'm the first one in. There is a wide, empty parking lot with your little parking spaces that you like. I pull in, I look at it, and I go, okay, I'm going to park here. I pull in, I get out of the car, and I'm wonky. And I go, what? There's no one else here. I didn't have to weasel my way in. So yesterday took me 2 times, and I still parked like an a-hole. So today I go, you know what? You have the backup camera.
Yeah,
right?
You use that to get.
So I use the backup. Expecting that.
I'm going to give you a pass here because our parking lot's weird in that you got the straight row of spots, but the end spots, which would be the easiest ones to pull into, are reserved.
That's
so you've got to go into one of the middle ones with no other cars to kind of guide you.
They're on an
in the
angle.
Middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually very hard. And when we first started working here, I parked next to that end one like 4 days in a row, and I didn't realize I was too close to the line. I got a note on my car once. Yeah, you're so close to the edge. You're parking
bang your
next
car
to my spot. I don't have room. Can you try not to park so close to my spot. So
That's a nice way to ask.
I'm going to go ahead and give you a pass on that one, but I just thought it was strange.
Yeah, so I did that because I mean I'm notorious. But they have the back camera. I need one for the front. I think some cars have it. Mine does not. But where you pull in and you can line. I don't have like good depth perception or whatever, and I can't judge it. I'm really bad.
All right, question number 2.
Okay,
and this is going to sound maybe a little dumb, naive on my part, but my youngest son this week went to see Bryan Adams at Viejas Arena.
Okay. Summer of '69.
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday night or Tuesday night. I forget which night. But so his friend's dad is actually the lead guitarist for Bryan Adams.
No way.
Keith Scott. Yeah, he's known him since he was in preschool.
Killer.
And he got to go backstage.
Okay.
And I didn't really press him on this, but I realized in my life I've never been backstage,
Sure.
and I don't even know what it really means other than physically going behind the stage.
Right.
What goes on when you have a backstage pass at a concert?
Depends on who you're seeing.
Well, yeah.
That's what, I mean, I guess so. I mean, is there a meet and greet? Is there food? Is there
So-
drinks? What happens when you have a backstage pass? You get to go backstage for especially a big show, like a Bryan Adams
Sure.
show. What goes on back there anyway?
Literally nothing.
Nothing.
Almost
Okay.
nothing. I mean, it's really fun, because you're backstage, and I've had a
It's
lot
like
of
going to batting practice where you're just standing around
Correct.
mostly, and
yeah,
nothing's happening,
And-
but you're just kind of cool that I get to be down here.
and you're a little uncomfortable, like you're in their space,
Yeah, just like when I'm at batting practice.
right, and you stand there and you're like, this is awesome, this is awesome. I'm so close, I can see Manny Machado's eyelashes. I'm that close, and it's really fun to be down there and you hear the sound. Backstage though, and again, like Paulie said, look, in 1984, if he's at a Van Halen backstage, it's going to be different. He's going to be sitting. He's going to be like, Dad, this was the greatest experience of my life. I had women rubbing coconut oil all over me, pouring Miller Lite down my throat. Might have been some illicit substances. He would have said, this is the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing ever. Very few men actually used to get backstage back then. It was all women. So the one time that I really got the full access, my friend Nick Brown was in a band called Mona, and he was the singer. And he was friends with one of the guys in Kings of Leon. And he texts me. He goes, I'm in town to see Kings out of Chula. He goes, come down. I got you backstage. So I'm like soiling myself. So I'm like, I'll meet you down there. So go down. So he was really good friends with the bass player, Jared. So I went in Jared's room. In his, he had his own,
dressing room. Okay.
Caleb had his own. Matthew had his own.
So the band doesn't have just one room,
right?
Each member of the band depends on the show. Okay.
And then Nathan had his own. So I'm sitting in Jared's backstage, and we're having a beer, cooler than can be. And I think I've told this before on the air, but I looked at his rider, all the stuff that he had asked for. It was all lined up along the mirror. And I go, can I ask you a question? He goes, sure. I go, why do you have baby oil in here? And he looked at me and laughed. And I go, is that for? And he goes, no. He goes, it's actually more embarrassing. And I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, all right. He goes, can't tell anybody, but tell everybody. He said, when you go out on stage and you're playing the bass, he goes, bass players don't get a lot of attention. He goes, that being said, take the baby oil and I grease up my arms so that when the light hits my arms, they look shiny and hell, and it looks so cool. And I looked at him and I go, that is my favorite thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. But it was wild. I was standing in his room and I heard this beautiful guitar sound. And I looked across into the doorway. The door jamb was open. And I have a picture somewhere of the lead singer, Caleb, sitting on a chair, cross-legged, warming up for the show, just playing and singing. And I snapped a creepy picture from there. So that was cool. And I met the guitar player too. I met the whole band. So it was fun as hell, but I wasn't back there you guys got any, you got any weed or anything? It was not a debauchery.
We've talked about those contract writers, they're called, that, bands and artists will put into their deal at a show with weird demands, essentially. I'd like a bowl of all yellow M&Ms, whatever it is, something crazy. And some artists are just weird that way.
Others, you know why they do that?
Others, yeah, I think we've talked about it. Just it's almost a test.
It is a test
for the promoter, for whoever's putting on the
Make
concert.
sure they read it.
to make sure that they, get all the details right.
Yeah, they're actually not trying to be divas. They just want to say, hey, man, this is what I need. And I put, 100 brown M&Ms on there. And if there's 100 brown M&Ms in there, that means you guys did your job. I appreciate it. And, they get taken care of and everything else. But that's cool for him, man. I love how much he's getting into music. I sent him a DM recently. You tell him to hit me up if he ever has any questions or like he's trying to learn the bass guitar. Trying to learn how to play bass.
He told me that you DM'd him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that guy that I met
I appreciate that.
with the greasy arms, it's a band full of brothers and cousins. 3 brothers and 1 cousin. Well, he's one of the brothers. And he's younger. So the guitar player, the singer, and the drummer were jamming every day. He was like a little kid. He was like 14 or 15. He's like, well, I want to play. And they're like, you don't play an instrument. And he's like, well, I can play bass. And they're like, okay, you play bass, and then you can join the band. Apparently, he locked himself in his room for like 4 days, came out and was like, like taught himself like he didn't stop playing until he learned the bass guitar. I always thought that was such a cool story. And now, obviously, life-changing and gold records and millions of dollars and beautiful, beautiful model wife and the whole bit. So could be on the horizon for young Graham Higgins as well.
Right there.
Very much.
All right, it is 6:17. It is Friday. It's a Hall of Fame Friar Friday here on Ben and Woods because at 9 o'clock this morning, we are scheduled to be joined. Big day for one Jake Peavy, who will be inducted into the Padres Hall of Fame in a pregame ceremony tonight at Petco Park. Jake will join us today at 9 o'clock here on Ben and Woods on his big day. Looking forward to that. Of course, we'll have a Crossing Streams Craig Elston appearance at 7:35. All of our regular Friday fun. Hey, at least we don't have a losing Padres wrap-up to talk about.
That is
today.
also true.
We did have a lot of rumors yesterday, though. I mean,
Loads.
a lot. And conflicting rumors as well about the Padres and the trade deadline. We'll get into all of that coming up. Daily Ditty, wrapping up the week of local bands. Woods' theme, I think Paul's selection today to wrap up the week. So get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods. Get a check of traffic with Kelly, and then right back here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Yes. Brilliant, Paulie. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Banger.
A banger, certified platinum banger. I don't know if it went platinum. It should have. It should have. Like
It should have.
Morgan Wallen went platinum. This didn't go platinum. That's a sin in my eyes. This is Rocket from the Crypt on a rope.
On a rope.
Local punk legend, the Swami, John Reese, lives among us here. And he's such a baseball fan. He's kind of one of my bucket list interviews to have on this show. I don't know if he knows who we are, but he loves the Padres. And I would do about anything to get the Swami in here. And I worked with him for a short time at 94.9, never really crossed paths with him, but I knew he was in the building. And if I knew he was in the building, I avoided him because I was terrified of him. He was very, very intimidating. So I'm in a restaurant once, and I was like, he's that legendary. In this
sure
town.
it was him?
I'm positive.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't. Hawaiian shirt, like he's just cool as hell, dude. It's
not a Robert Plant story.
No. This wasn't Frank from SDG&E that was having dinner. And
all right, now Holly in the chat says I'm friends with him.
oh God, Holly, he's like on my bucket list, and I don't want like a phoner with the Swami. I want him sitting right here talking about music, talking about baseball, talking about San Diego.
I just have him co-host next time I'm on vacation. You know, it doesn't take that long
Done
for me to
done.
If
to
he
go
would,
out.
if he would do that, I don't even know if I can make it. I don't even want to be like, so I'll just sit back and you can just tell stories of your illustrious punk rock career. And yeah, so he's down the street, man. Like
go
it's
from the
crazy.
least punk co-host to the most punk co-host of all
That
time.
would be the best. Ben shows up on Monday. I'm like, hey, bud, can we go outside for a second? I need to chat with you. Chemistry was actually really good. So it's going to be Swami and Woods from now on. You're more than welcome to hang out and do social media and stuff for us, but I know you don't like doing that. So
You're not even getting top billing on that show either?
No. I never. I just call it the Swami Show, which is fine with me. We'll do a rebrand. But Holly, yeah, if you know him and tell him we were talking about him and praising him and would do anything to have him in studio. It would be pretty incredible. He's got a huge body of work with a bunch of different bands. He's amazing.
Well, speaking of baseball, don't really have any good baseball news yesterday. Very limited schedule in the major leagues and only 2 games that impacted the wild card race. Cubs and Mets both won yesterday.
Fantastic.
Cubs are doing exactly what the Padres we want them to do. They are making a nice run here. They've won 6 in a row to get back to 500 and are just 4 games out. So there's another team now the Padres have to contend with if they do want to get back into it. Padres 6.5 games back in the wild card race, and now 2.5 back of the Cubs, who are trying to chase down Diamondbacks, Marlins, Reds, Phillies, and Giants. So it's getting more crowded. The Mets won. They're only a half game behind the Padres, but they signaled to everybody yesterday that they're out when they traded their closer, David Robertson, one of their players having a better season for them, that, they sent him to the Marlins and basically waving the white flag, going, we're open for business in terms of trades, and we're not planning to make a run. So a team that essentially has the same record as the Padres. They're 48-54. Padres are 49-54. And the Mets are saying, not our year. We're retooling. We're looking ahead to next season. So, I mean, ultimately feels like bad news. I will say things can change fairly quickly because it was only 2 weeks ago, right before the All-Star break, we all remember when the Padres swept the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah.
And the narrative that week was the Angels are toast. They're done.
Yeah, they're done.
Mike Trout is hurt.
Good point.
Shohei Ohtani, they're done.
Good point.
Wrap up their season. It is over.
Yes, Ohtani's on the move. Yeah, it's going to be a fire sale.
After sweeping a doubleheader yesterday, and oh my God, what a day for Shohei Ohtani. First game, pitches a complete game, 1-hit shutout, striking out 8 Detroit Tigers. Second game, hits 2 home runs. I mean, one of the greatest doubleheader performances in baseball history.
If not the greatest.
Tough to beat that.
Is that the best day ever had on a baseball field?
One of them. Got to be
in the big leagues.
And what pitcher has ever
complete game shutout
done that And then
One hit,
hit 2 bombs, and 1 hit, 8
Well-
strikeouts,
a complete game.
9 innings.
All of a
Absolutely ridiculous.
Shutout.
all of a sudden, Angels have won just 4 in a row. You know, that magical 4 in a row we've been looking for from the Padres that doesn't seem like it should be impossible. And they're only 3 games out of a playoff spot, and they have signaled, hey, they are in. They're not trading Shohei. They just acquired Lucas Giolito, to add to their starting rotation this week, and they're going for it. And, while the percentage chances still look like, a 1-4 shot, if they play well, they're not that far out. They certainly could make up 3 games out of the last, almost 60 left in the season. That's 1 game every 20 that they've got to make up in the standings. You play well, you do that. So the narrative can change really quickly, guys. I know it feels like it's over for the San Diego Padres, but I promise you, it felt beyond over for the Los Angeles Angels 2 weeks ago. We saw it. We remember it, what their feeling was like when they left Petco Park that week. Done. Season's done. Cook's over. Shohei Ohtani's getting traded. This is another lost season for the Angels, and here they are, one of the more excited, encouraged teams right now with 2 months to go.
Yeah, let's talk more about it. I watched a lot of that Cardinals-Cubs game. There were some interesting goings on in that game early that probably helped the Cubs, definitely helped the Cubs and propel them to a 6th straight win. One of the weirder ejections you'll see, I think. You see this with Michaelis getting thrown out? Okay, I'll explain when we come back, and we'll talk some Padres and some of the plethora of articles written about the San Diego Padres and their plans.
No, if you have a sports publication yesterday, you wrote about what the Padres are going to do. You didn't necessarily coordinate with everybody else.
Correct.
Though, because depending on who you read, let's just say either the Padres are buyers, they're standing pat, they're small sellers, or they're large sellers.
Yeah, we got one of each, I think.
We got everything for you on the rumors. So we'll get to that coming up next with Bennett Woods on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, I'm going to just sum up with the Padres trade deadline news from yesterday. According to various reports from various insiders, the Padres will be adding players at the trade deadline while standing pat and trading away Josh Hader and Blake Snell and possibly Juan Soto.
Correct.
Does that cover it?
Yeah, I got it.
By the way, they will definitely be doing something, and that something they could be doing is nothing.
Correct. Could absolutely just stand pat and not do one damn thing.
While being one of the more active participants at the trade
Correct.
deadline.
Yeah. That will be AJ Preller's greatest feat at the trade deadline. Selling and doing nothing
at the same
and standing
time.
Pat at the same time. It's really going to be
people are going to be talking about
they're
really going to be talking about the rock star GM, how AJ did nothing and it had the biggest trade deadline of any team in baseball this year.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Yeah, obviously last night with no game on, turn on MLB Network and they're playing the Cardinals Cubs game, and I'm rooting actively for the St. Louis Cardinals because we want the Cubs to lose. And I'm watching the game, and I see immediately Miles Mikolas gets ejected early in the game. I think it's the first inning, if I'm not mistaken. So Ian Happ comes up to the plate and for the Cubs, and he has kind of a long, loopy swing, takes a swing, swings and miss. The backswing gets Wilson Contreras on the back of the head, and he hits the deck. And he's out. He's like, oh, and it was not like a glancing blow. It was a solid, it was barrel. He got all barrel.
There was a cartoon, there'd be little birds flying around
his head. Yeah. It had like an anvil dropped and hit him on the head. So it whacks him down. He sits down. Mikolas is seemingly pretty pissed off at Ian Happ. Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras, who did have to come out of the game, hugged it out, right? So I thought it was kind of over. Well, Mikolas goes about 94 up and in under the chin of Ian Happ. Okay, that sent a message. Well, the next pitch, it looked like he threw not quite an ephus, but it did not have the same velo. He didn't use the same motion. Boom, hits him right in the hip with the second pitch. Umpires get together, they throw Mikolas out of the game. So now the Cardinals, they're not in a race of any, and they're basically going to be playing spoiler at this point, which is kind of what we needed them to do, end up losing one of their starting pitchers, and they throw him out of the game. And it was pretty wild. And I thought to myself, I wrestled back and forth with it, because here I am a couple days ago telling one of our guys, hey, Manny wore 98 to the back, and then Xander wore 95 to the ribs, and Tatis got thrown at by Oviedo, thrown behind. Maybe it got away. Doesn't matter. Still put him on his ass. And our pitchers did nothing. And here's Miles Mikolas out here dotting a guy for essentially what was an accident, but he knocked him out of the game. So my brain was rattled. I go, who do I side with here? I really don't know who to side with. There was a small part of me that was like, all right, you protected your teammate. And Ian Happ took his base, Ben, and it's almost like he knew it was coming, and he just took his base and threw his bat down, took off his gloves, ran down to first. There was no FU or anything like that. And I went, all right, maybe that was juvenile by Miles Mikolas. But if you're Wilson Contreras, don't you say, thanks, buddy? Don't you appreciate that a little bit?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
too. As a teammate, there's no doubt as a teammate, even if it's not the right situation and you're not demanding retribution, you're always going to appreciate it when it feels like a teammate has your back. Now, I don't think the converse is true. I don't think just because Seth Lugo didn't, throw at Brian Reynolds, that Manny Machado feels like no one's got my back on this team. I think he also understands that they're trying to win a game.
For sure.
That it's important to him as well. So
I could tell you the other side, though. He wouldn't have been mad. He wouldn't if Tim Hill came in and dotted somebody, or Brent Honeywell dotted somebody, Manny wouldn't have. I promise you. I would bet the ranch on this if I had a ranch. He would not walk up to him after the game and go, "Hey, dude, what are you doing, man? We're scratching and clawing for wins." I promise you. I know. He would walk up, pat him on the ass, maybe buy him a Rolex or something because it's Manny. But it was just an interesting thing. But if you're the Cubs, you're like, oh, cool, knocked your starter out of the game, and they poured it on after that.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you planning to purchase a home this year? Balance offers pre-purchase counseling and education to help you get ready. Make a free appointment with Balance by visiting BalancePro.org today, or call 1-888-456-2222. 888-267-8227. All right, let's try to sort out some of the rumors. Obviously, 80% of them are dead wrong because they are all conflicting with each other, but got to figure out what is going on here with the Padres at the trade deadline. We'll do that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Looking pretty good on our roads this time. We do have reports, though, it looks like a lawn chair in the fast lane on northbound 163, right before Claremont Mesa Boulevard. I'm Kelly Danick at Benham Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. I don't even know exactly who to assign all these rumors to anymore. It's kind of gotten jumbled in my head.
It is a little jumbled.
But the most extreme of the Padres trade rumors we saw, and off days always will spark more rumors than game days, just because you've got reporters who have to write stories and need something to write about. So they filled the space yesterday. The Padres are actively listening on several key players, especially Josh Hader and Blake Snell, but even Juan Soto is not necessarily on the trade market, but is someone who the Padres will listen. If you want to bowl them over with an incredible offer, they are not going to just hang up the phone if you call about Juan Soto. It's not like hey, there's no chance we're going to listen to you. Now, I don't think we read too much into that. I think if you're a general manager, wouldn't you always want to listen?
Yes, always.
Even if you have a 0.0001% chance of ever saying yes. Getting that kind of information, what other teams are looking for, what they're desperate for, what they are willing to part with, is always valuable information for a general manager. So why wouldn't you say, yeah, we're listening. We're absolutely listening. Unless you're worried about offending Juan Soto or something like that, which I don't think is an issue here.
I think he understands.
You're gonna listen to offers.
He's went through this. He just went through this with Washington. He understands that if he also understands his value and what he brings, and he understands that, wow, I could, if we're not in fact a contender, and I know when you're this many games below 500 and that many games out of the wild card, you're like, let's be honest with ourselves. Maybe we're not a contender, even though we're all of us dumbasses still think we are. You're Juan Soto. You're like, yeah, I would expect people to be blowing up AJ Preller's phone because I have one more year of control left. Of course he knows it's coming.
It feels like the national guys, Ken Rosenthal's, the Bob Nightingales of the world, whoever they're talking to, maybe other GM, maybe they talk to more of the other GMs around baseball. They're the ones who are all writing about the Padres starting to listen to trade possibilities and looking likely that they'll trade Hader and maybe Snell, and
they really
and even
want
Soto.
They really want a fire sale from the San Diego Padres. That every article I've read lately,
I agree with that,
is referencing, Peter Seidler, and he's going to be broke, and there's this debt call and all of this. And Peter,
they're the ones that were pumping out the narrative of how long is this sustainable
correct.
for? They want to be right.
They want to be right. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, until Peter Seidler calls the three of us up to his office and says, guys, sit down for a second. Here are my books. This is what we're probably going to lose on the team because, the valuation, though, is here. So it's worth X, but we're going to lose a little bit. The TV, we got to make up for sure. Here's my other private holdings that I have. These have made me this. These have lost me. Until that happens, nobody knows. I don't know. You don't know. Kevin Acey doesn't know. Dennis Lynn doesn't know. Nobody knows. I hear all of these, industry insiders say, unless you're in that room with Peter Seidler and have access to his checkbook, you really don't know.
By the way,
he's told us he's
even
good.
If we did, if they sat us down and brought out this book, here are all financial statements of the Padres, I wouldn't be able to read it.
Me neither. I would
gibberish.
I just want him to drop a Dave Chappelle and be like, "I'm rich, bitch. Don't worry about it."
I need one sheet with one column that said revenue, one column that said expenses, and one that said profit or loss for 2023.
But still,
is it red? Is it black? What is it? I have no idea.
Even then, I don't. There are owners. What do we talk about all the time? It's not a year-to-year investment. Like, I made $48 on the Padres this year. It's if and when I sell the Padres, they're worth $9 billion. That's what it's all about. And if you can operate at a loss, some people find it hard to believe that the Padres would lose money this year. I think that's very feasible. I think it's feasible. I think it's absolutely feasible. And I don't think it's that uncommon either in professional sports, unless you're the NFL, you're making money hand over fist. But with the money that they're handing out, with the money that's going out the door, there's revenue coming in, but still, I think all these guys operate at some loss.
Think of it like buying a house. You buy a house, $500,000. Your house, you lose money
in
on
Fargo,
it.
North
You
Dakota.
lose money on it. Hey, I got to pay upkeep. I got taxes, property taxes. I've got to, whatever breaks, I got to fix it. You lose money every year on your house. But eventually, after, 10 years, you want to sell the house. Oh, it's now worth $1.2 million.
Sure.
So your investment went up and you realize, hey, that $50,000 to $100,000 I put in over the last few years, keeping my house up.
Yeah, it's
is
not
coming back to me in spades in the value of my asset that I own. That's the same thing with a professional sports franchise.
Exactly.
You don't need it to make money every single year like an ATM. As long as the value of your asset keeps going up, you know that you're moving in the right direction financially.
Well, and the funny part is there are teams that probably made money hand over fist in baseball because they didn't invest in their team, like the Cubs of the 80s and 90s,
and they're double dipping. That's you don't want an owner who's double dipping.
No,
it's
you
both
don't.
Increasing the value of their franchise and taking money out of that team every single year that they could be
pulling
investing
equity out,
either back into players or they could be putting it into ballpark upgrades and fan experience and whatever.
But I stand by that. I feel like all of those guys want the Padres to say after the sum total of 6 months of quote unquote going for it. I think that the national writers, the national pundits, the Dick Monforts of the world want the Padres to say, yeah, that we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. So we're going to trade off every valuable piece we have. I don't foresee that happening.
Now, those are the national reporters. Conversely, the local people who covered the team, like AJ Cassavell, who we had on Wednesday, Dennis Lynn from The Athletic, Kevin Acey in the UT, people who cover the team every day, what they have written this week is a much different picture of what the Padres intend to do. Could they be listening? Could they trade possibly a Josh Hader, even a Blake Snell? Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility if they get a great offer, but I still get the sense from our local side that the Padres are more likely to stand pat and still try to make a run over the last couple of months, maybe even add a small piece or two, another bat, a left-handed bat, or some pitching depth if they can find the right trade partner and pull something off. I don't get the sense that, AJ is looking to shed major prospects on an earth-shattering deal right now. The team hasn't done enough to kind of prove the faith of putting that kind of investment into it right now. But I'm not getting that sense that the Padres are desperate to make big trades where they're selling away big pieces right now.
I agree with you. I do. Every time we think we have the idea or the answer of what he'll do or the team will do, it seemingly goes 180 degrees in the wrong direction, which makes it difficult. It makes it difficult to pinpoint exactly what they need to do, what they want to do. I mean, I think people have their opinions on what they need to do or what they would like them to do, but you never know. You never know what kind of calls have been made and about which players. Would you be all that surprised, Ben, if the Padres traded for a freaking shortstop on before Tuesday's deadline?
Yes.
I wouldn't.
And no.
I wouldn't.
Yes.
I wouldn't.
And no.
If Jose Ramirez at third base was a Padre in a week, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Nothing surprises me that he does anymore because you can't pinpoint it.
I would if it was a 2-month rental. I would not be surprised at any player that's controllable beyond this year is always fair game for AJ Preller.
Absolutely.
We've seen that before.
And you never know until you ask. So I'm sure the asks are flying from a bunch of different teams, and I'm sure the phone's ringing off the hook about Josh Hader. I'm sure it's ringing off the hook about Blake Snell, and I'm sure it's ringing off the hook about Juan Soto, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha. There's a bunch of different names that potentially could go.
We talked about it a little bit yesterday when you look at the return that the White Sox got for Giolito.
Right. And Ronaldo Lopez.
Of course, the rumors are going to start going, because what the hell could the Padres get for Blake Snell?
Of course. If Giolito fetched that, and again, Ronaldo Lopez was thrown in. He's no scrub. Real good bullpen piece for the Angels. He's not a scrub by any stretch.
Who would that be, like throwing in a
Steven Wilson
with a Blake Snell?
Probably something like that. I mean, that's a good move for the Angels and some, a lot of. Here's the hard part about this part of the year.
Good move for the White Sox.
Some people say, oh, they didn't get enough, and then some people say, oh, they robbed them. Nobody knows. You have no idea. Nobody has any friggin' clue.
If I saw a report that AJ Preller isn't even listening to those offers, like he's not picking up the phone.
I have seen that report like 9 times.
I see now. He's not doing his job then. If he's not at least listening to what other teams have to say about Josh Hader and Blake Snell, who are going to be free agents, then you're not doing your job.
Sure.
If someone really wants to bowl you over for anyone on your roster and you feel like this move makes us better, maybe even in the short term and definitely in the long term, don't you always have to consider it? And especially when you are 6.5 games out of a wild card with 2 months to go and a couple of those players are going to be free agents at the end of the year. You have to listen.
No question.
To the phone call.
No
It's
question.
just a phone call.
Yeah.
It's not a commitment. It's a phone call. All right, we will talk more about the trade deadline live on Tuesday. Join us for our 97.3 The Fan commercial-free trade deadline show Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. We're going to join together with all of our other colleagues, Quinn and Chris, the coach, Sam Levitt, for a commercial-free hour discussing all of the Padres trades or non-trades leading up to the MLB trade deadline at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, 2 to 3 right here on 97.3 The Fan. I've got, we got Jake Peavy coming up at 9 o'clock. It's Hall of Fame day for Jake Peavy. Going to be inducted at Petco Park. Ceremony at 6:25, I'm told. If you're going to the game tonight, get there a little early so you can see Jake go into the Hall of Fame. He'll appear on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Looking forward to that.
Opening day.
He
man.
really was.
Yeah.
He really was a great interview, and he's does so good on when he's on MLB Network. They run guys out there from time to time when you're like, he's MLB Network. Yeah, not ESPN.
I don't know how much he's on there.
When he is on there, slays it every time.
He was as high on the Padres as anyone, maybe higher early in the season.
Yeah, we should pull a little bit from his opening day interview.
Not to embarrass
No.
him, yeah,
I just like to hear it. I mean, it wasn't just us.
Everyone was, for sure. All right, we're going to play some Take on Woods. If you want to join us when we come back, 833-288-0973. Also let you know what events I went to last night here in San Diego. Next on 97.3 The Fan. Had a nice experience last night. Maybe opposed to what some other fans had earlier this week at Snapdragon Stadium for the big-time international soccer. We had two big games this week. On Tuesday night, it was Man U, Manchester United, against Wrexham. Standing room only crowd, absolutely packed. You got fans of both teams came from far and wide to watch that game. That Wrexham knocked off a team of really basically like AA Manchester United players, like their third or fourth developmental young player under 21 squad.
Taylor Colways of Man U.
So that was packed. Last night, I went down. The Loyal played Borussia Dortmund from the German Bundesliga.
Oh, great.
And there was only about, I think they said 12,000. I mean, the upper sections weren't open. The bottom bowl was maybe half filled. It was
Snapdragon.
Yeah, it was a little quieter last night, but honestly, I thought the soccer was pretty impressive. That Borussia Dortmund actually played a lot of their top players. I got there for the first the opening kickoff, and I've never seen this in soccer. And this maybe is because I've never watched a true international powerhouse team. Borussia Dortmund kicked the ball off. And I'm used to watching a U.S. national team. They'll kick it down the field and try to make a run, and they turn it over in 10 seconds. They just passed the ball backwards to each other for the first, 30, 45 seconds. Then they started moving it down the field, passing it, left, right, back, left, right, back, just surgical, back, just slowly moving it down, almost like an NFL team running a, handoff offense.
Yeah.
Just 3 yards, or just keep moving it 3 yards. The Loyal never even touched it. They get all the way down into the box, kick it to the side, back to the middle, past the keeper, and in 86 seconds, without the Loyal even touching the soccer ball, Borussia Dortmund had a goal. Wow. It was surgical. It was impressive.
That's
it
cool.
was, kind of that beautiful game of soccer that they always talk about internationally, but I never really see because I don't watch enough of it. It was pretty cool to see, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to get ugly. I mean, the Loyal are completely outclassed here. A second USL division team for the United States against a Champions League team from Germany,
as they should be. I mean, as they absolutely should be.
But then they turned it around, and for like 20 minutes, the Loyal had Dortmund on their heels.
Gave them everything they could handle.
They had some turnovers where they had great shots. I mean, just missed wide of the post, above the post. Great save by the keeper. Could have had like 2 or 3 goals. Didn't get any.
Damn it.
And then the Loyal made a bad turnover that led to a second goal. It was 2-0 at halftime, though nothing embarrassing.
Not bad.
At halftime, I left. They switched out. The Loyal put in all their young subs. Borussia put in some of theirs, and their subs, let's just say, are way better. And they scored 4 in the second half, and it was 6-0. But it was no embarrassment for the Loyal. They actually showed for at least 20 minutes that they could play with one of the better teams in the world. And I thought it was a cool experience last night. Plus, people were able to actually get out of the stadium at the end because it wasn't so crowded.
Yeah.
I heard that was an issue on Tuesday night at Snapdragon, that everyone left at the same time, and
miserable.
And it was tough to get out. Now, Steve Smith, my buddy from Channel 10, he went. He said they got out pretty quickly, but he knows that a lot of other people had a lot of trouble with that packed stadium, because you never had, I think, even an Aztec game had never been that crowded with so many standing room people, and as full as that stadium has ever been. It was a bit problematic on Tuesday night for the Wrexham Man U game.
Yeah, I mean, you guys always ask me why I leave everywhere early. I can't do it. I can't sit in the parking lot for an hour and a half. I mean, I'll probably make it to the 5th tonight at the Padres game. I can't do it. I cannot sit and rot in my car in traffic waiting to get out. And I've worked an event at Snapdragon, and then I did the Seals game, which we had 8,000 people there, but that wasn't, that's not anything that's going to back you up. Anything crazy. I had no problems, but I haven't been to one of the
even
huge
Charger games at Qualcomm. I would take the trolley.
That was terrible.
I trolleyed in.
Horrible.
Couldn't do it.
There was a little controversy as well that came out of the Wrexham game. So one of their Wrexham star players, they call him Super Paul Mullen. I guess if you watch the show, he's one of the most popular guys on the team. He got taken out by Manchester's goalie, like just outside the box. It looked like Troy Polamalu.
Oh my God.
Tackling him. He punctured his lung.
Oh my God.
He had to get taken to the hospital, and the coach of Wrexham wasn't happy about it. And because Wrexham has this giant worldwide social media following, Bishop, the goalie, has been getting all this hate on social media. Ryan Reynolds actually had to come out and say, "Hey man, you know what? It was an unfortunate thing, but this is a soccer fight. Lay off on this guy."
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean,
dude.
it's a friendly, and he probably could have backed off a little bit, but I mean, so it's become like this international incident over the last couple of days following the Wrexham Man U match.
That's crazy. We neglected to mention, Ben, there was another trade to pivot.
Hold on, let me put the phone number out because we need a contestant for Take on Woods, and then we do need to mention the other trade from yesterday. 833-288-0973. We're about 3 minutes away from our musical trivia game, wrapping up the month of July here, I think. So get in, chance to win a trip to Las Vegas. Call in now, 833-288-0973. Get ready to play a little Take on Woods after we discussed the other trade that went down yesterday.
Yeah, just in time for when do we play the Brewers? It's fairly soon, I believe. Yeah,
End of the month.
End of the month.
End of August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last weekend in August.
Carlos Santana, who just murdered the San Diego Padres this year. It's been his mission to murder the Padres. Was traded from the Pittsburgh Pirates to the Milwaukee Brewers. We were not going to have to face him again this year. He's 37 years old. Is that right? 37, 36 years old. Really found the fountain of youth against the San Diego Padres. He was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers, Ben, for 18-year-old shortstop Johnny Severino, headed back to Pittsburgh. One of your typical, hey, we got a veteran here, and he's having a good year. Maybe he can help you guys for the stretch run. It's something. This is buying on the fringes for Milwaukee.
I saw maybe 50 different versions of the same tweet, comment after the trade went down. Couldn't have done this on Monday.
Yeah, couldn't have done it Monday.
Before he murdered the Padres in
Crushed
that series. Did it actually had 5 home runs in 6 games against the Padres.
$10 bet that weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
What's Carlos Santana going to do to the Padres this time around?
Just bananas.
Getting a third crack at the San Diego Padres next month when they take on the Milwaukee Brewers, one of the teams that the Padres kind of trying to chase down. Either they're going to win the Central or the Reds probably will, or the Cubs coming on strong now as well. Lots of competition right now for that final playoff spot. So, yeah, you're starting to see more deals. I imagine they'll continue to trickle in over the weekend, and then you usually get that final flurry on the day before the trade deadline and then the morning of the trade deadline. So we'll be keeping an eye on it, and again, we'll do that live show Tuesday from 2 to 3 o'clock, the trade deadline special here with all of the hosts on 97.3 The Fan.
Look forward to that, my friend.
All right, let's get to it. We got a contestant on the line. Let's play some Take on Woods. Let's see. Robert, are you out there? Let's go to Robert. Good morning.
Good morning. Robert is here.
Robert is here, and he is going to play Take on Woods. Woodsy has left the studio. You're going to get 5 questions of musical trivia. If you can beat or tie Woods on those 5 questions, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing. It's a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. 2 tickets to see Skid Row and Warrant. Special guest Paralandra at the International Theater at the Westgate on September 30th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. The Westgate features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. Your advantage, Robert, is you get to pick our category. Here are your choices. Is everybody in? 5 musical answers that begin with the word everybody. In Your Face, 5 song titles that include the phrase in your somewhere in the title. And our new category today, Billions and Billions. Those are 5 songs that each have over 2 billion individual streaming plays on Spotify. So, Robert, of those 3, is everybody in Your Face, or Billions and Billions? What'll it be?
I forgot the name of the first one. But
Is
the first
everybody in?
Yes.
All right. That's the category for today. 5 musical answers, so bands or song titles that begin with the word everybody. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We can come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First questions are 2-second song. Paul, you're going to play you a little clip of a well-known hit. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that one, and then we'll go on from there. Robert, you ready to play?
Ready to play.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Remember, the category is everybody in. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Robert. Let's take on Woods.
Everybody has fun tonight, Wang Chung.
Correct. Tears for Fears followed up Shout with which mega hit in 1985?
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Correct. Common Pain is the theme of which melancholy 1993 song by REM?
Pass.
Bob Dylan's brassy Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35, is sometimes erroneously referred to by what four-word phrase that ends every stanza?
Ooh. Pass for now.
Which song about rumor mongering from Neon Tree's second album remains the band's biggest hit?
Darn it. Pass.
Go back to Common Pain is the theme of which melancholy 1993 song by REM?
Everybody hurt.
Correct. Bob Dylan's brassy Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35, is sometimes erroneously referred to by what four-word phrase that ends every stanza? Ooh, lost the time on that one, but you get the three. You got Everybody Have Fun Tonight by Wang Chung, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and Everybody Hurts. Bob Dylan sings Everybody Must Get Stoned in Rainy Day Women, and Everybody Talks is the Neon Trees song. So I don't know where Woods was about to go, but he's coming back. Robert, hang on the line. See if your score holds up today as Woods comes back in without knowledge of the category. Same 5 questions. Reset our 2-second song, 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Robert.
Everybody Wang Chung by Wang Chung. Everybody Wang Chung Tonight by
Incorrect.
Wang Chung.
Tears for Fears followed up Shout with which mega hit in 1985?
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Correct. Common Pain is the theme of which melancholy 1993 song by REM?
Everybody Hurts.
Correct. Bob Dylan's brassy Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35, is sometimes erroneously referred to by what four-word phrase that ends every stanza?
Everybody Must Get Stoned.
Correct. Which song about rumor mongering from Neon Tree's second album remains the band's biggest hit?
Played it a billion times. Everybody.
Which song about rumor mongering from Neon Tree's second album remains the band's biggest hit?
Everybody Knows.
No, it's Everybody Talks.
Everybody Talks.
And because of that, and because of your slight miss on the 2-second song, we have a tie. And Robert, 3-3. Congratulations! You have got your name into the drawing for the grand prize to Las Vegas. Hang on the line.
Shocking.
If you
Paul,
play
you'll get
that
your name.
Neon Trees song, I'm
All right,
going
so
to stab you.
The category is everybody in? All answers
Everybody
began with
in.
everybody.
Okay.
The song by Wang Chung is Everybody Have Fun Tonight by Wang Chung, not Everybody Wang Chung Tonight.
by Wang
And
Chung.
Everybody Talks in the Neon Trees song that you've played a million times. Everybody Talks. Okay, so congratulations, Robert. Good way to finish the week for one of the tier ones there to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas.
It's a tie. I didn't lose.
You didn't lose. No one loses. Everyone gets something out of it on a Friday.
Everybody wins.
Everybody talks. Everybody must get stoned.
Save that.
Well, I just better do it like Bob Dylan. Everybody must get stoned.
Well, very good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that as well.
Thank you.
If you said that, and now your Twitter algorithm's going to recommend more gummies
More
to you
Tommy
from
Chong promoted tweets. That's all I get now.
my entire feed.
X,
I've been back on X for a couple of days, and all I see is Cheech and Chong and their gummies.
Somehow my ex is all about
Weed.
my weed.
I don't it shouldn't be targeted at me. I don't really
Is this
smoke
everybody?
marijuana.
Is this everybody in the world?
Is everybody
just getting
seeing
Tommy
this?
Chong gummies tweets all the time?
Well, you should never be. I should
shouldn't.
maybe like once a month or even once a quarter.
Paulie, it makes more sense.
It makes
for.
more sense.
At
Yeah.
least a couple times a week.
A couple times a
Probably
week.
see those ads.
It is amazing how, I mean, even on the golf course now, it's like more times often than not that someone I'm playing with.
Yeah. Just fires up a big
Yeah,
joint.
exactly.
Yeah.
During the round.
Yeah. Seen that recently.
Happens a lot nowadays.
It does.
It's not a bad thing. It's fine.
I would rather play with someone smoking a joint than sucking down 14 IPAs.
or they're vaping it, or
Yeah.
you know, it's omnipresent.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
they smoke weed and they get real quiet. It's fun. It's nice and peaceful out there.
All right, Don't Do This is coming up next.
Let's play the audio from the St. Louis Cardinals broadcasters when Miles Michaelis got thrown out of the game last night. They
All right.
lost their minds.
We get to that coming up next after a check of traffic here with Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. It's actually not hunger. That hasn't been a problem.
It's all the ladies throwing themselves at you.
Not missing. Got Craig Elston, a little crossing streams coming up in just a few minutes. First, though, our longest running segment of the Ben and Woods program. Don't do this. That's the voice of Hannah Nancaro Woods.
Yes, indeed it is.
Leads
Don't
us
do
off
this.
in this segment every single day. 2 stories that make you shake your head. We evolved about, I don't know, year and a half ago to add a do this story to balance out the bad with the good, so to speak. But Woods, why don't you start us today?
Well, I told everybody about the incident last night in the Cubs-Cardinals game where Ian Happ took a swing and hit Wilson Contreras on the back of the head, knocking him out of the game. Miles Michaelis took it into his own hands. He threw high and tight up to Ian Happ, missed him, and then threw again and hit him in the hip. And many people say, hey, look, had he just gotten him with the first pitch, I don't know that anything would have happened, but Michaelis was run out of the game, and Chip Carey and his partner Brad Thompson, who were calling the game for the St. Louis Cardinals, did not take it very well. Check this out.
They're going to talk it over. They'll issue warnings. They throw him out. Wow, they just throw Michaelis out of the game. You got to be kidding me.
Losing it.
You have got to be kidding me. Have a little feel for baseball. Have a little feel for the game.
Best fans of baseball.
That's fantastic. Yeah, they were. Cardinal way.
Homer's gonna homer, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I just like hearing grown men get themselves so worked up. Have a little feel for the game.
We all get worked up when it's our team.
Absolutely.
We disagree with the decision that was made.
Absolutely.
I do understand that, but it doesn't ever sound good.
No.
It's a good reminder. Next time you want to complain about the strikes, I do it. I do it sometimes. It's on Twitter as well. Not all. I try not to because I think about what that sounds like and like, all right, don't be that guy. Yeah, never sounds good.
Whiner.
All right, I will go second. Sean Payton, new coach of the Denver Broncos. He broke the code, Woods. What's the code of silence that they have in the mafia?
Omerta.
Omerta. There's kind of an omerta when it comes to the coaching profession as well. You just don't do it. You don't criticize other coaches.
Yeah.
You don't know what their situation was, what they were going through, but Sean Payton broke the code yesterday in an interview with USA Today. They said he was in an expansive mood as he talked about his predecessor with the Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett, who got fired last season.
You really remember how unlikable Sean Payton is because he was out of the game for a year, came back, coaching the Broncos, and you just remember how unlikable.
Now
he is.
maybe he's 100% honest, and I hate to criticize a coach for opening up and giving us more than coach speak and nothing sound bites, which most of them do. This was not a nothing sound bite, though. He said that Nathaniel Hackett and his coaching staff from the 2022 Broncos, quote, did one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That there were 20 dirty hands around quarterbacks Russell Wilson's career worst season that included 16 touchdown passes and a league high 55 sacks.
He goes, I don't know Hackett. I don't know him.
He said, it doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed. And that happened here. Part of it was their own fault. You don't usually hear that because, coaches, that profession is fairly tight. And a coach that maybe coaching against you one year is going to be on your staff, or you may need a job from that guy sometime in the future. Now, Sean Payton probably doesn't need any more assistant coaching jobs in his life at this point.
Nathaniel Hackett's sitting at home like, what did I do?
and I don't know totally the specifics of why he went into what they did so terribly. Now, if you watch the Broncos, I don't know that it stuns you. They were bad. Russell Wilson was awful. And I do think there is a method here to the madness. He's trying to deflect from Russell Wilson. The critics
100%.
who are saying he's washed. How is he your starting quarterback?
Hackett's fault, offensive line,
coaching.
coaching.
Blame the last guy, blame the last coach. The guy we have here, I have full confidence in him. Wasn't his fault at all. It was someone else's fault. You're going to love what you see from my quarterback this year. So there's a reason for it.
He also punched down a little bit on the Jets as well. Took some shot at the Jets and had some things to say about them.
Yeah, he said let's see, the pomp, the circumstance, the PR, marching people around. We're not doing any of that. The Jets did that this year. You watch Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. Remember when Dan Snyder put that dream team together? I was at the Giants. I was a young coach. I thought, how are we going to compete with that? Deion Sanders is there now. That team won 8 games or whatever. So listen, just put the work in.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. But what you do when you do that is what you say, hey, everybody, we've just put a big bullseye on our back. You want to kind of fly under the radar, in my opinion. I think, especially a head coach needs to. There's coach speak for a reason. Just because something, Ben, may be true doesn't mean you have to say it, right? Like Nathaniel Hackett maybe was not a good head football coach. John Payton knows that. He doesn't have to drag that guy.
I need to check something. I'm guessing. I bet the Jets are not on the Broncos schedule. I am absolutely wrong. They play them like week 5 of the season. I was going to say, you don't say that of a coach you're actually going to face, but
yeah, he's going to. And I will get us wrapped up in do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
Much like when our pal Craig Elston, who will join us at 7:35, begins to talk sci-fi. Ben, you could probably take this segment off. Paul, you may be interested in this. Saw a report yesterday that there's a new movie coming out, and it's called The Iron Claw. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Well, I saw you tweet about it, and I didn't, so I started Googling, actually.
Okay.
I went into the Von Erich rabbit hole for a little while yesterday because of that.
So they are making a movie called The Iron Claw. It comes out December 22nd, one of those Christmas movies. I will be there. I will be there in the theater to see.
Plus, it has Jeremy Allen White from The Bear.
Dude. It's got Carmy from The Bear. He plays one of the Von Erich brothers. He actually plays Carrie Von Erich. So where I'm from, in Dallas, Texas, the Von Erich family are gods among men, and used to go to the sportatorium to watch them wrestle. One of the most tragic stories in American history.
It was nuts. I didn't know any of these details until yesterday.
There is only one left, and it is Kevin Von Erich, who will be played by Zac Efron. And Carmy is a slight guy. He put on 40 pounds of muscle to play Carrie Von Erich. And I saw the picture. I haven't seen a trailer or anything for it yet. I mean, I'm going to be weeping through this entire movie. This is like my youth all wrapped up. And the story of the Von Erich should be incredible. He sold it for me. I'll be honest with you, if it was just Zac Efron in it, I'd be like, I don't know. But the fact that Jeremy Allen White is in it as well, I went, all right, I'm in. I can't wait.
Tragedy, suicide.
Yeah,
I mean,
drugs,
all of them.
Name it. Like it was,
except for the one who's alive. He's like a commercial real estate and investment guy in Hawaii right now.
That said, dude, do you want to hear a quick story? We got like 1 minute.
Yeah.
After all his brothers were gone, and I mean, he looks around, he's got no more brothers left, no more career. He goes, I wanted at that point to go to prison. So he tells this story on this wrestling documentary. He walks into a gun store, looks the guy in the eye, takes a gun, shoves it down his pants, and starts to walk out the door. The guy says to him, Kev, I love you, man. And he goes, that was done. I broke. The guy knew him, was going to let him go. Like, I love you, dude. You don't have to do this. And that moment, it gives me chills, dude, when you see it.
I wonder if that'll be in the movie.
It was in Lubbock, Texas. And he said I was going to steal it and I wanted to go to jail and I just was done with everything. And the guy said, I love you, Kev. And that was it. Changed my life. And now he's in Hawaii and he's got a family and
tearing up on that. That is wow.
I cannot wait to see this movie. The Iron Claw, December 22nd. I don't think you have to like wrestling to see this. Should be just a really, really brilliant movie. So maybe we all go together.
That's Don't and Do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we'll have Craig Elston joining us next. We'll talk about the Padres trade deadline rumors and get a Crossing streaming television recommendation from our friend and pal, Craig, coming up next here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by...
Got two me's up there on the.
Sorry. I went to the,
There you go.
I went to the restroom.
There we go.
Breaking it.
There we
Camera
go.
likes to follow us
It
out the
sure
door.
does.
Everybody's ready.
They're cool
now.
little cameras. I mean, if you watch us on our YouTube stream,
This way?
you've got
I can
they're
move
just these
this
little
way.
cameras on tripods, and we don't have little tiny camera people who follow us around. They just automatically, if you do it, they just automatically move around, so they follow you. Yeah, wherever you are, kind of in the room. But
Anyway, you were
if
saying.
you get up during the break, it follows you, and then doesn't follow you back after you leave the room. So I was saying this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. California Coast Credit Union here to make home buying easy. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to refinance, CalCoast has a solution. 0 closing cost home loans are available. Visit calcoastcu.org. Restrictions apply. Equal housing lender. I believe, could be wrong, I believe on Tuesday night I heard Craig doing the PA at
Correct.
the Man U Wrexham game. Interesting to hear his take on that and the Padres and Crossing Streams recommendation coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Denick.
Got a few problems this time around. A solo spin out southbound 5 right before 8th Street. This car is facing the wrong way over to the right shoulder. In the North County, southbound side of the 5 at Tamarack off-ramp, there's a collision involving a couple cars. And traveling on the eastbound 78 just past Sycamore, a collision involving a couple vehicles not showing if lanes are blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And there he is. Speaking of the YouTube stream, I see him. He is Craig Elston.
Hi, Craig.
Padres Hot Tub Podcast, Crossing Streams. Good to see you on a Friday, Craig.
And you as well. Excellent work by Paul to make it all happen.
Nice. All right, so that was you on Tuesday, right? Wrexham Man U, because you weren't there last night. I went to the Borussia Dortmund Loyal game. Well,
I was
you
there,
weren't doing
but
the
I was in the local section.
Yes, you were down there with the drummers and the chanters. And what did you think of all the soccer this week at Snapdragon?
You know, what an incredible summer for international soccer here in San Diego. And for everybody who was on the side of the road that I was on for Soccer City versus the Aztecs plan, all I can say is everything San Diego State promised, they delivered. You know, they opened that stadium on time. Should they have installed a canopy? 100%. Is it still a problem? Yeah, a little bit. But for every evening event, Snapdragon Stadium is great. And even just being there last night, there were several locals who had never been there. There were some folks I walked in with who had never been inside and were just like, oh, wow, okay. As a viewer, the sightlines are impeccable. You know, as a worker, it's just a great place to be with a tremendous staff. So I've been really privileged, you know, through Wave to have a chance to get to know the folks at Snapdragon. And I just think it's a tremendous facility. And I got to tip my cap to the Aztecs. They delivered what they promised.
That's awesome, man. And you know, another place to catch a good ball game is Petco Park, Craig.
Good transition.
It's really fun
nice.
to watch the San Diego Padres, and the ballpark experience is second to none. The weather's been really good. It's the baseball. I love when I get the text from Craig unsolicited after the game the other night. He goes, "I've seen enough," and I read him wrong, and I go, I mean, I'm still going to be watching. And he goes, oh, no, I'm going to be watching, but it is time to absolutely cut bait. And I loved it, man. I love those unsolicited Elston texts. Never stop.
Hey, listen, that game broke me.
It did.
You know, I mean, I was on with you guys last week, you know, on Padres Hot Tub. I've been saying it week after week. I was holding on to the slim percentage. I was, and dreaming of a team that finally, you know, caught fire like a Roman candle and just kept shooting for a little while. And I don't think that team exists in the 2023 Padres. You know, I said on yesterday's show, the one scenario I have left, which is kind of a reverse 2010. If you remember, we didn't believe in that 2010 team, like almost all the way until midway through August, late August. They had the best record in baseball. Then they fell apart. And I'm kind of almost like, well, maybe it's a reverse 2010. Maybe they're going to get everybody off the bandwagon until the very end. But come on, are we going to bet on that?
I'm not. I cannot put my money on that, Craig. A guy was tweeting me yesterday, and Joe Musgrove had some comments yesterday. We haven't talked about him, and it's funny because he's like us. And I tweeted this. One day I'm like, oh yeah, just buy, dude. And let's go for it. Let's go nuts. The next day I'm like, just sell your pieces and we'll retool. And I don't know what to feel. Joe Musgrove, the exact same way. And somebody said, well, it's because he grew up a Padres fan. It's ingrained in him to be unsure. But that's exactly how I feel as well, Craig. I just on a day-to-day basis, I'm not sure. But Joe said, hey, we get down to a one-game playoff or a one game to win it all to win the wild card against the Chicago White Sox. We're going to be kicking ourselves. And I said, I would sign up for that right now. Winner take all, Padres, White Sox, the Padres go to the wild card. I will sign that contract right now today.
So a couple of things. First off, when we're a game back, we're going to need Snell and Hader. Well, that's cute.
Let's get a game back.
Yeah. Frankly, that's adorable. When was the last time you were a game back? April 1st? When was the last time the Padres were one game back?
It's been a while.
That's a total joke. Since the Kershaw crying meme, we haven't been within spitting distance of first place. So fine. Second off, are we slaves to the percentages? Because let me tell you something, and I've got some really smart people in our Padres hot tub community who have actually broken this down. I believe as of yesterday, our Fangraphs percentage to make the playoffs was 27%.
Yeah. And
you can run the algorithm and take Snell and Hader out of it, and they drop to 23%. 23. Okay. Which is about the same as dropping a couple games to the Rangers this weekend. 23. So it's not the be all and end all. A starting pitcher really impacts a playoff series. A regular season, it's a little bit different. It's more of the amalgamation of everything. If you really think that this team is good enough, they're good enough without Snell and Hader. But guys, we've been trying to dream about what team this team could be all year. And we thought, the 2019 Nationals, well, that's dead and gone. The 2021 Braves, well, that's dead and gone.
Yeah.
The Braves were over 500 by this time in their season. I mentioned a reverse 2010. We're the 2015 Padres. That's what this team is. A team that was hastily put together to win, was put a bunch of big ticket items. It doesn't quite fit. Nothing quite fits. And in that year, A.J. Preller made a big mistake, which was he doubled down on his 15, 16% to make the playoffs. And of course, they came nowhere near the playoffs. They won 74 games that year, but they missed the chance to get Michael Fulmer on their team. And this is the last point I want to make. There are desperate teams out there, okay? We just saw the Angels make an overpay because they're in an emotional situation. I look at the Baltimore Orioles, a team that's there a year early, a team that has just passed Tampa Bay, but they've got to hold off the Rays, they got to hold off the Yankees, the Red Sox, and they got to hold off the ghosts of being a disappointing franchise for years and years and years. They've also got 8 prospects in the top 100. You put Snell, Hader in a package to that team, you might get the 2 or 3 guys you need next year.
So I see your point, Craig, the comparison with 2015. I just looked it up quickly, though. The 2015 Padres were bottom 3rd in hitting, runs scored, bottom 3rd in ERA, and were not a very good defensive team. This year's Padres are 2nd in pitching. They're up to 15th in offense after a slow start and runs scored, and maybe the best defensive team in the league. I mean, the metrics tell you that this team is just so far above and better than the 2015 team, yet same record, essentially, at this point of the season.
Will we win 74 games they did in 15?
How does that happen? And conversely, if AJ is the GM or whoever's the GM, how do you fix that in the offseason? I feel like maybe that's the toughest job now, is figuring out how to fix a team when you can't even identify what the problem on your team is right now.
Right. You can't ask somebody's
agent,
hey,
the bench.
You can't ask somebody's agent, hey, is he clutch?
Because no
Is
one's
he clutch?
no
All right,
team
we'll
is
take
ever
him.
going to say, hey, we won 80 games this year. We want to win 100 next year. We added 2 bench pieces, so there's 20 wins right there. That makes no sense whatsoever. But what else do you do this offseason?
Look at the Giants. Look at the Dodgers. How have they look at the Rays. Look at these. How have they put their teams together? It's not from having the best 1 to 5 in Major League Baseball. It's having the best 1 to 26.
Yeah.
And where the Padres have gone, I mean, that's where I'll just push back against you, Ben, and disagree. I think there are very easily identifiable problems with the San Diego Padres that have been there since the day they showed up for camp. This team's roster numbers 20 to 26 for most of the year have been one of the 3 worst in baseball. Terrible. In baseball.
Yeah.
And it's what we've talked about before. It's not about being the best. It's about being average at a lot of spots and then letting your great players take you over the line. The Padres have had their great players weighed down by the Austin Nola, Matt Carpenter, Jake Cronenworth, Odor, Brandon Dixon with 33 strikeouts and 1 walk. Like all of these guys who aren't major league players that have been asked to fill major league roles. The game that broke me, okay? Bases loaded, Soto walks, Taylor Colway.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Taylor Colway. Because Matt Carpenter can't be trusted to bat in that spot.
Yeah,
Carpenter, Rivas, or Batten.
Carpenter, Rivas, Batten, or Colway. I mean, that's pretty much what you're left with. It's tough, man. It's absolutely
that
tough.
Makes my point. Defense rests.
And sure,
that's my point. That's what's wrong with the Padres. They've won 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Twice. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That is it. What we think they're going to win 20 out of 22. We think Rocktober is coming.
Would do anything for Rocktober, man. Anything.
Maybe. But why would you bet on it? This is guys, is everyone's job on the line? I thought AJ Preller is excellence. That's a literal quote from our owner. AJ Preller is excellence. AJ Preller is safe. So AJ Preller doesn't have to double down on a losing bet. He can make a flip that makes us better next year, and we're going to all sing his praises. Why do we have to put more money on this team? Let the 23% ride out. I'm not saying sell the farm, but Snell and Hader, you might get 2 guys that make this team next year.
That's fair.
But
that's fair. But
might is the key
when the
word.
Padres only improve and try to add a little depth on the bench next offseason, I don't want everyone going to spring training going, man, they didn't do anything. This team's going to suck next year. They don't need to do much. They need to make small changes at the back end of their roster, and then we'll find out how good they are next year, I guess. Craig, we got a few minutes left. Let's get to the Crossing Streams recommendation for the week.
You got me all fired.
I love it. I love fired up Craig.
I was screaming last night at the game, so now I'm losing my voice. The voice is going on. Okay, guys. Last week I recommended Timothy Oliphant show, Justified City Primeval, which had its 3rd episode. It's great. Got another one for you, kind of coincidentally, and it just put out its final episodes last night, and that is Full Circle on Max. It's a 5-episode limited series, and it's directed by Steven Soderbergh. And I just want to start right there. So you're talking about one of our great filmmakers of the 21st century who has done so many things in so many different styles. And what he's created in Full Circle is a Hitchcock style mystery, a kidnapping gone wrong. Not necessarily mystery. It's more like watching a slow motion car crash of a criminal plot with some mystical background to it in terms of what a woman believes that goes wrong in many ways, and spins out to affect all of the people, so to speak, within the circle. Some of the key players on this is an incredible cast. Claire Danes and Timothy Oliphant are the parents of a kid who is supposed to be kidnapped, and that's the plot that goes wrong. CCH Pounder, the great CCH Pounder, who I haven't seen in anything in a long time, is the matriarch of a criminal family who has put this plot in order. Zazie Beetz is an investigator that is trying to figure things out. Dennis Quaid is the wealthy father of Oliphant and Danes. There's an incredible cast. Even Jim Gaffigan has a big dramatic role in this. And it can be a little bit dense at the beginning, but I say stay with it. I've really, really enjoyed it, and I've found it to be a pretty immersive experience to watch Full Circle.
Full Circle on Max. I mean, Steven Soderbergh. Got a lot of
Genius.
good credentials there. Ocean's 11 is still one of my favorites.
It's great.
I just love that movie.
Absolutely great movie.
So good. Craig, appreciate it.
Thank
Have
you,
a
buddy.
great weekend.
Thanks for the heat.
The YouTube stream, the chat, fired up. They loved Craig's appearance today. A lot of, I love it, Craig. I agree with Craig. Craig's absolutely right. I'm seeing that all over the place. So good job today, buddy.
Thank you, my friends. Talk to you next week.
Craig Elston on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I'm not 100% convinced that the reason the team has struggled is simply because of the back end 20 to 26 guys. Every team has flaws. Woods.
What in the world?
Every team has. Every team has. Whether it's not enough starting pitching, a little bullpen issues, every team has a flaw.
Well, what the hell is the flaw?
If you're gonna pick a flaw, don't you want it to be the back end of your bench and your last guys on your roster? Yeah. All right, we're not perfect. We may not have the best 20 through 26, but I'll run our 1 through 20 out there, our starting pitching, our numbers against anyone else there. Isn't that something you'd want when you start a season? I'm not 100% convinced that is it. I think there might be something else that we're not seeing yet that we still have to figure out.
The ever elusive magic, the ever elusive clutch, the ever elusive, hard to quantify, heart and desire, the dog in them. Listen, none of those are bad theories at all. You just can't put your finger on it. You can't point to it and say that. They don't have the dog in them, and here's how I know.
Right.
They don't have the clutch gene, and here's how I know.
Because they had it last year.
There's some numbers in there that bear that out. There's some numbers early in the season, especially with runners in scoring position, that don't bear it out. It's a combination of a lot of different stuff, man. And I do think the black holes early hurt, black holes in the bullpen middle hurt, and now it's kind of everything's the same. The offense is killing us again.
All right, we'll come back. 2 hours down, 2 hours to go. Jake Peavy, newest member of the Padres Hall of Fame as of tonight, going to join us at 9 o'clock this morning. Stay tuned for all of it. Coming up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Halfway home on a Friday, mercifully. It's Ben Woods 97.3, The Fan. Honestly, the only thing that got me out of bed this morning was the prospect of Home State bringing us tacos again today.
Yeah,
I was lying in bed this morning and didn't sleep all that well, and I went, oh, we get tacos today, breakfast tacos. So I'm here, and I'm happy, and I don't know when they're coming, but they're coming at some point. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. Will you be having some, skinny guy?
Yes, I think I will today. I'm going to celebrate my weight loss by indulging in a little cheat this morning.
It's so funny.
They're so good.
It's so funny. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindels, our executive producer. And to my left, Benjamin Higgins, your Secretary of Homeland Exploration.
Thanks again to Craig for joining us. I got a tweet here during the break, or actually earlier, but from Mark, who said, are you selling optimism because you believe this team will get it together, or is it because you're on the flagship station?
It's the thing that makes me want to die the most.
It's weird though, because
it makes me want to quit.
I'm not optimistic about the Padres' chances. I feel like they have about a 1 in 4 chance of making the playoffs, which is exactly what the math says they have. Is that optimistic? I mean, Fangraphs, that's 25%. That's where they're at. That's not optimistic. That's pessimistic. That means I believe there is a 75% chance they're going to miss the postseason. I'm selling confusion.
That's all we have.
Selling that the numbers tell me this team should be better. I don't necessarily believe the team is going to show us that they are what their numbers have said they are, though, because as Craig pointed out, I've seen enough, but because of course you have. Baseball is not football. In football, you get off to you play 8 bad games and you could turn it around to be a completely different game because it's football. It's a short season. You just don't know. After you've played 100 games, it's very difficult to then completely reinvent yourself as a different team over the last 60.
It's a good enough sample size to know this probably is just who and what we are. And I don't know that any combination of additions or subtractions is really going to change that. Look, I will say this. Stranger things have happened. And Mike Petriello was on with our buddy Darnay, does a podcast, and I watched a little clip of it, and it was really well done. And Mike Petriello is great. Mike Petriello, again, this isn't Ben, Woods, Paul, flagship shills here. We've been massively hard on this team this year. Massively, because they've been terrible. I just said it again. Write it down. They've been terrible. Massive underachievers. Didn't get the job done. Haven't gotten the job done. Massively disappointing. Okay, does that not sound like something a shill would say?
No, but it's also something that Bob Melvin would say, that anyone else in that organization would say as well.
So Petriello, who's really, really good, is talking to Darnay, and he goes, look, I don't look at the Padres like I do the Mets. And he goes, I look at the teams above the San Diego Padres, and they sure as hell don't have the roster that the San Diego Padres have. And I'm talking about the Marlins, the Reds, he goes, take
the Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks. And he said, take the Brewers, take the Braves, and take the Dodgers. And those are your winners. He said, I would actually go ahead and say that the Giants are probably going to get a wild card spot. So now you have one remaining wild card spot.
They've been in fairly free fall mode, until they face the A's this week, but they've been struggling too.
So again, Mike Petriello, who does not work on the flagship, says, I really still kind of believe. And I think that is really that's kind of how I feel too. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's still something in me that goes, man, wouldn't it be awesome to see a run? B, wouldn't it be feasible-ish because of the talent? I don't know. I don't know that if they need to get in a room and do a seance or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the thing that sparks this team. We haven't seen it yet.
Well, there's one other team that actually was in a similar situation to the San Diego Padres. That is the Chicago Cubs. Have played all season long, and while their expectations weren't nearly as high as the Padres, they did make some moves in the offseason. They weren't nothing. And they have all season long been like 6 to 10 to 12 games under 500, yet had a positive run differential all year long, going, why hasn't this team turned it around? And now they've just won 6 in a row. They've gotten back to 500. They're 4 games out in the wild card race now, and there's genuine excitement for the Chicago Cubs at the moment. And yesterday, Jesse Rogers, who we had on the show on Tuesday, covers Cubs, White Sox for ESPN in Chicago, says, if you're a Cubs fan, here's the real reason to be optimistic. For the longest time, they were by far the worst team in high leverage moments at the plate and ranked 29th on the mound. So bad that it was probably fluky. Good chance, no guarantee it would turn around, but it finally has for the Cubs. So they were thinking kind of the same thing in Chicago. There's no way this team can be this bad considering the numbers we've been putting together all season. It has to turn at some point. And they waited and waited, and it didn't look like it would ever happen. And now it has. At least right now, they've won 6 in a row, and they are right back in the race. I tweeted, now do the Padres, please, because it's the exact same thing we've been waiting for all season long. There was no reason to think the Cubs were going to do it either. They'd played close to 100 games and never put together a winning streak like this. Never, other than the numbers that said they should be better, they were just like the Padres. They've done it. They've turned it around. They've won 6 in a row. So yes, the Padres can do it, just like the Cubs have done it right now. There's no reason to have less belief in the Padres than you did in the Cubs a week ago.
Well, the only thing that gives you less belief is that you just haven't seen 4 games in a row. That's it. That's for me.
I don't think you'd seen it really with the Cubs either all year long.
I don't know what their longest.
This is definitely their longest streak. 6 is by far, I think, their longest streak of the season.
That's true. I mean, and you the A's have ripped off, I think, 7. We've talked about this crap incessantly. And that's what it's been. It's been crap. There's just no other way to look at it. There's just no continuity, I guess. No, to try to dig yourself out of a hole with, winning a game, losing a game, winning 2 games, losing 2 games. It's impossible. It cannot be done. Mathematically, you've dug yourself in a huge, huge hole that now the only way to do it, I mean, they can shut everybody up. They can shut me, you, Paul, everybody up. Coach, Crisello, shut them all up. You know how they do it? Win baseball games. That's it. That's the only, that's pretty cool. It's in your hands. You get to figure it out. Nobody else is dictating where the San Diego Padres go except for the guys in the locker room. I like that.
One reason.
Let's start with getting to 500 for the love of God.
I mean, let's for sure.
The biggest
what are they,
reason
5 below?
They are 5 below.
5.
The biggest reason for pessimism, and this has been true for a while now, is when you put yourself in this position, you can't afford for anything to go wrong. Like this weekend series, this week's series against the Pirates might have been the death blow just because you can't afford those games. But something like Juan Soto's MRI, and we haven't heard any news yet. I don't know if he had it yesterday or getting it this morning.
He was supposed to get it yesterday, I think.
But, if there's bad news and they have to shut him down for a month, Padres can't afford something like that at this point.
Do you feel like the trade deadline is hanging in the balance on that MRI
a little
report?
bit, yeah. Maybe more so than even how they fare against the Rangers the next 3 days.
Agreed.
If they get bad news on a Juan Soto MRI right now, then
you've hit the iceberg.
You really have. I mean, now everything's going against you at this point.
Yeah. Because
you're going to need your stars to really perform down the stretch. If you want to make that run, you haven't been able to do all season long.
You almost get to use that as a fallback.
100%, Paulie. It's kind of a get out of jail free-ish card. You're on probation. Like you're not scot-free. You weren't exonerated. But you're like, what were we supposed to do, guys? We lost Juan Soto.
It's cover for whatever move you have to make. It's a good, cover story for maybe a move you already had to make. But when you say, hey, we're shutting down Juan for 3 weeks to get his finger right. Oh, and by the way, we just traded Josh Hader. Everyone goes, well, with Juan out, that's the right thing to do. And you kind of damp down. Even the people who were hoping you were going to add and go for it can say, well, yeah, with that Juan Soto news, then I haven't heard anything. I'm not throwing something out there into the universe.
No, me neither.
I do believe that the results of this MRI are
pretty important.
Rather pivotal for the direction the Padres may be headed for the rest of the season.
How much do you think the weekend series against Texas really is going to impact or sway AJ Preller?
Sweep,
if they win all 3 or
sweep
lose all
either
3.
way will change the narrative significantly. If they win all 3.
See, I think he's made up his mind.
See, I feel the same way.
I think he knows what he wants to do. Whether or not he's able to pull it off
and get what he wants.
And that may be the case. But if he's made up his mind that he wants to sell, a sweep could change his mind. If he's made up his mind he wants to buy, getting swept could also change his mind. I don't think 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 changes anyone's mind, though. You're just still kind of in that more in that
limbo.
nebulous land.
Yeah, we've lived
we've lived in.
We got 4 games
But-
left. I'm guaranteed.
but
I'll
either-
bet you anything. We go 2-2.
Probably.
right, just
But
to make
now
it
the
even
deadline-
But
harder.
if the next 4 games all have the same results, I think it'll be abundantly clear what the Padres need to do.
Correct.
If they win all 4, they need to make a move at the deadline and buy something and go for it. If they lose all 4, they need to sell absolutely and listen to every offer for guys who are going to be free agents. The reality is they're probably going to go 2-2, like Paul said, because this is what this team has done all year long.
That's it. That's it.
Which probably leads me to say you sell because, well, you're going to probably then go 3-3 in your next 6, and then you're going to go 5-5 in your next 10, and you can't get back into the race by playing, winning 2 and then losing 1, and then winning 1 and then losing 2, and then winning 3 and then losing 2, and then winning 1 and losing 3. You can't get back into the race that way.
Rory tweets in, says, the irony of it all is if we ran the exact same team out next season, we could be the best team in baseball.
Maybe.
And it's the maddening irony of the sport we love. Next year, when it gets down to, opening day, don't ask me to make picks on who I think, because I clearly have no idea, nor does anyone have any clue of who's going to be in the wild card hunt come August 1st or anything like that. There are so many surprise teams that have arrived early, but they've got the magic this year. The Orioles have the magic. The Reds have a little magic this year. The Brewers are pretty solid. The Braves are just world beaters. The Dodgers have a little magic this year as well. We have none. Zero. There's zero magic on this team. And as much as we try to create it and manufacture it, them at the beginning of the season, it just never clicked. And that's probably what I'm going to say at the end of the year, Ben, if it is a massive disappointment, is team just never clicked. Never, ever. And it's a trope. It's a really easy thing to say, and they just never clicked. But that's what I see from them.
Yeah,
it's just not clicking.
My massively wrong prediction of how can you predict any new playoff contenders
Correct.
in the National
Mine
League?
too. I agreed with you.
Has been
Full-throated.
completely wrong. You're going to get at least probably 3. Of the top 7 teams in the NL last year, 4 are trending toward the playoffs right now. Braves, Brewers were 7th last year, Dodgers and Phillies, but Mets, they're falling off the map. Padres and Cardinals, all 3 of them who were in the playoffs last year have had incredibly disappointing seasons for what we all expected them to be this year. That's 3 of the 15 National League teams.
Yep.
Massively underachieving and underperforming.
It's remarkable to just sit back and kind of look at how things have played out. All offseason, it was the talk where the Mets and the Padres just going for it. Buy. For both teams, for different reasons, to be so bad this year is kind of staggering.
It is. Cardinals too.
Like I would still take the Padres roster going into 2024 than I would the Mets. Like I think the Padres are still somehow in a better position, but it's just crazy. Like for both of those teams to get all the hype and seemingly make a lot of the right moves that a lot of us agreed upon, and they both just completely failed to live up to the expectations.
Nobody wants the mark of underachiever ever. And no matter what you do in life, if you're a salesman, you don't want to be an underachieving salesman. That means they saw so much more in you. You don't ever want to be an underachiever, Ben. And that's what I'm labeling this team.
I want to push back on that a little bit, but let's take a timeout.
How so?
You don't want to be an underachiever, but you don't also want to fall into a trap that sometimes you get with underachieving or the label of underachieving. Let's take a timeout. We're going to check traffic.
I'm going to push back on your pushback.
Okay, thank you. There's going to be a lot of pushing and shoving going on in our next segment.
Well, you'll be easier to push because you've lost 30
That's
pounds.
true. Stiff breeze will knock me over.
I'll throw you around in here
like a leaf
little
floating in the
ragdoll
wind here.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back with more Ben and Woods right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's interesting. The name of this song, I believe, is Bad Decisions by The Strokes. Making Bad Decisions. And there's been a few. I've made many in my life. Ben, you've made almost none.
Well, we really don't know, though.
You got to see how it all plays out.
Who knows what, if I had made different decisions, where
what
I
your
might
life
be.
would be. Yeah, it's a good point. It frustrates you to think about. I'm sure AJ Preller lies in bed at night and thinks about it as well.
Try not to do it too much because you'll never know, and it'll just drive you crazy.
You can't change it. You can't change it.
I wanted to push back on you, though, because you said, what did you say? You never want to be an underachiever.
Never. You never want to be labeled an underachiever, especially a team.
However, the pushback comes from when you say underachiever, that means that you had a set of expectations that were laid upon you at some point, whether they were low or high. But you're not in charge of setting those expectations. Usually someone else is. There's a narrative. And you don't want to try to avoid being an underachiever by setting lower expectations. Hey, I'll never be an underachiever. As long as people don't expect that much from me, there are people like that. Do that. I don't like that. I think that's a terrible way to do your business and operate.
100%.
I would like you to always set really high expectations. And that inherently means occasionally you're going to be an underachiever.
But it's funny.
If you're setting, those expectations that push you and make you reach, and you don't get there, then you're an underachiever. But I like that way better than a team maybe that always sets low expectations. Hey, we're the Rockies. If we stick around 500, we're having a really good season. Oh, we won 84 games, just missed the playoffs. We overachieved. Great. What does that get you? Nothing. Nothing. Overachieving gets you nothing if you set low expectations.
That said, so it's not just a narrative. The payroll begs that you do something. Okay, what did everyone say in spring training? Our goal is to win a World Series. Peter Seidler said it on this radio show. Our goal is to win a World Series. Great. Okay, so we and him and everyone else had to adjust. Okay, our goal is to make the playoffs. Still having to adjust. Now our goal is to get to 500. It's going to take 5 wins consecutively to get to 500. There's no other way to look at this team but massive underachieve. Not a little bit. He didn't underachieve a little bit. Hey, we wanted to win the West. We ended up,
of course,
winning a wild card.
Of course.
Hey, you know what? No problem.
But you know what? Every team's goal should be to win the World Series. It's not, but it should be. And you know what that means? That means you'd have 29 teams that underachieve every single year.
But it's. I don't think it's that cut and dry because the Baltimore Orioles and they don't have the big payroll. And
but
I think
that was their choice.
Well, I get it, but that payroll will lift expectations, right? When you spend a lot of money, you're supposed to win more games, a lot more games than you lose. And it just has not been the case. And it hasn't been the case for some of the higher spending teams, the Mets, the Yankees, the Padres.
But you know who that matters, the payroll and what you're getting out of it? It should matter to one person and one person only. Peter Seidler. For a fan, you should always, keep your expectations high, whether your team has no payroll or not, because why shouldn't Oakland A's fans expect their team to go out and try to win and win ball games?
Because
the owner has underachieved for the A's.
No question. No question.
Now, maybe the players have achieved exactly what you'd expected, and they're not overachieving or underachieving.
So do you not believe in the theory of being an underachiever? Is it impossible to be an underachiever?
Obviously, it exists. It absolutely does exist. I just don't think it's that important.
Oh, I do.
That it's not something you should base your, you shouldn't base how you feel about a season, whether you underachieved or overachieved. I went through a long phase as a Padres fan with, low payrolls and hey, they finished 500. They overachieved. I tried to make myself feel good about that. Like,
it's not fun.
What does that do for me? A 500 season.
It's not. No, it's not fun.
I'd rather have a team I'd actually rather have this. I'd rather be massively disappointed, but honestly disappointed about this season and not fakely optimistic about something that I really had no reason to be optimistic about to begin with, because my team never had a chance. And just because they played a little bit better than I thought they would, that shouldn't make me feel good about the San Diego Padres at the end of the year. That doesn't matter. I'm more happy that I know next year, whatever happens at the end of this season, I feel confident that Peter Seidler is going to try to put a winning team on the field, and my expectations will once again be
through the roof,
quite high next year. And yes, I could end up being massively disappointed again, but I will take that every time over a plucky team that, hey, I think we're going to surprise some people and we might win 83 games this year. That sucked. I lived through that my whole life. I'll take this every year over that. I really will.
I don't know that I don't know you say that, but to be the team that constantly soils the bed, that's no good either with high expectations. That's terrible. That is like, that's not a label you want. And if I'm a player in that locker room, I'm like, bro,
it's just a label. Who cares what a label is? I'd rather have the potential for greatness.
It's not just a label.
I want the potential for
your
greatness.
Life. It's your life. It's what
Padres,
you do.
Identifier.
That's how you're identified.
But the Padres still have the potential for greatness. Other Padres teams of the past, they didn't have the potential for greatness.
You're selling me again on potential. And I saw a tweet yesterday from a guy who I love and adore, and I think he's one of the smartest baseball minds on Twitter. It's our boy Tommy. And he tweeted something to the effect, and I didn't respond because I just didn't have time. But I saw it, and it said something to the effect of this. He really wants the Padres to be sellers, like sell it off. Yeah. And so he said, I don't understand why ever it gets me so mad when people are saying, the window is now in a couple of years, and that's really it, because we've got Snelling and Lesko and Salas and Merrill. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to do it because A, I didn't feel like being a jerk, and B, I love the kid and I think he's brilliant. But I promise you, had I gone through some tweets from 6-7 years ago, I probably could have found one that said, hey, guys, the future's bright. Lauer, Lucchesi, Hedge, it's there. Spangenberg, Luis Urias,
Mejia.
Those exist. And I've seen it since I moved here in 2010. The hope of Craig said it too. And I said,
when you need those guys to complement the guys that you've
signed. Right. Exactly. And there just hasn't been
there's
been no complementary pieces that you can speak of.
I hope we all agree Padres need to do a better job of developing some of their own young players.
Correct.
I don't think anyone denies that. Now, have they done enough of that to trade away some of them and get pieces? Yes. I'm not gonna erase the history of what they've gotten from some of their draft picks and international signings via trade.
But those guys he mentioned are low A guys.
Yeah.
What are we talking here? 26? And then how old will Manny be in 2026? How old will Xander be?
35.
Right. And so I don't think the window.
It's like, what are we doing right now?
I don't think the window slams shut in 2 years. I don't. I really don't. And I'm excited as well about some of those guys. But we're talking the low A prospects that are having success right now are not enough to get me super fired up about the future, just like they never really have.
Are they going to come up and be first team all MLB in their first year or two? Probably not.
Might take them some time. So yeah,
we're really looking at 28, 29.
Yeah,
2030.
That's the tough part about it.
Or maybe
you signed Soto. He's on 20.
Or maybe Salas comes up in 2 years and he's Adley Rutschman right away. We just don't know yet. We don't know. We got to take time out. When we come back, there is one move we both think the Padres should make today. We both agree on it, actually. We'll tell you that. And then Paulie's going to get an early rival report with some news from Colorado, the Big 12, Pac-12 headlines from yesterday, and then Jake Peavy at the top of the hour. So stay tuned for all of it coming up in the next 30 minutes on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. to lose your home, the Balance Foreclosure Prevention Team can help provide assistance and info to guide you to avoid default and foreclosure. Call to schedule an appointment at 1-888-456-2227 or visit balancepro.org. Teased it before the break. One move Padres need to make today. I hope they've already made it, and this guy is either here or on his way. And I'm not saying he's going to save the season, but Woods, you agree with me?
Yeah.
Ben Gamble, who they recently acquired in a trade and sent to AAA.
Cash money.
Has 3 homers the last 2 days. He is in 7 games with El Paso. And again,
El Paso, sure.
PCL hitting league. But he's got an OPS that is, 1120 something? I mean.
Former big leaguer.
Yeah, 1158, slugging 720. He's been in the big leagues before. They need depth. They need a bench piece. They picked this guy up. What are you waiting for? Bring him up.
Yeah.
Bring him up. And
bring him up for Colway. Bring him up for Rivas. Bring him up for Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, give him a chance. If they have a situation in the 9th inning and they need a big hit from someone, I can't trust anyone else. Let's give this guy a shot.
Well, and the other
can't
thing,
be any worse.
The other thing, too, is he plays left field. And and knock on wood, I mean, there's a lot of people in our fan base that don't want to see Juan Soto in a Padres uniform anymore, which kind of blows my mind. That said, let's see how we are without him.
He's a career 1.3 WAR player.
Yep.
He has 253 career batting average and
he's like 3-hole
at bats.
That's 3-hole for us.
I mean, that's the kind of, when we had Craig on and he talks about when you need to fill at the end of your roster, you need just dead flat average players, and your team will actually be good.
That's him.
So far in his career, he's been dead flat average.
Yeah,
that's exactly what the Padres need right
now. And
come on down.
Yeah, come on, Ben. I hope to see you tonight at Petco Park.
Ben, what could go wrong?
I wonder if he's also losing weight at a tremendous rate. Women are throwing their bras at him like
Florida
they are for
native,
you.
Florida man.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right.
Paul has got some other headlines with our Reindl Report. It is coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Denick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. A couple things to watch out for. Eastbound side of the 8 near El Cajon Boulevard, there is a collision. This vehicle struck the center divide. And if you're traveling on the southbound 805 before the King Freeway, just watch out for some debris in the fast lane. Seems to be causing some flat tires on a couple vehicles. One's over the right shoulder, one's over the left shoulder. Again, that debris reported in the fast lane. Southbound 805, right before the King Freeway. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's Choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. And Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, Taylor, and I think of you talking this morning about him screaming during nap time yesterday.
Little guy just screaming.
School.
Is like murder. Like, he doesn't want anybody else to sleep.
Like an alarm clock for everyone.
Just horrific. Just a horrific scene for that little
You got
guy.
some parenting ahead of you.
I've got some other parents, I think, that are probably very mad at me as well. So that's cool.
Probably their kids all came tired.
Yeah.
Cranky when they
Taylor
got home.
screaming.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sweet babe.
Sweet little angel.
All right, gentlemen. We'll start off in the NFL. It's that time of year. Lots of preseason training camp injuries already coming down. You had Joe Burrow, was probably the biggest name yesterday. I saw the video. This is what's the scariest part. He didn't get touched. He was just rolling out to the right and just came up hobbling on that
dreaded
right knee.
NCI, non-contact injury. They're always worse than the one
had to be carted off. He immediately hit the ground. Trainers rushed to him. He was carted off. He did give a thumbs up as the cart was driving him off.
Fine. He's fine.
So he's obviously going to be okay.
Calf strain.
No one ever gives the thumbs down. He carted off, by the way.
Yeah, this is not good.
Yeah, this is definitely not good.
You do see guys though in tears and stuff with a towel over their head, and they're like, "This is it for me."
Jalen Ramsey was
the man, the
off.
myth,
the man,
the myth. It's one of the best. Drove an armored truck to training camp, I think.
Yeah, he was carted off with a knee injury. He's going to miss a significant amount of time.
He's like 8 weeks, I think.
Surgery, yeah.
And it's just you just hate it this time of year.
For
Adam
Burrow,
Schefter, go ahead.
He's next in line for the big contract.
Oh
so after Herbert got his, Burrow's supposed to be next, and I'm sure he still will, but just shows you how tenuous it always is, especially in football.
Yeah. Adam Schefter said yesterday, Joe Burrow carted off with a strained calf. Jalen Ramsey carted off today with a knee injury that will require surgery. Sidelined him for the start of the season. Text today from a head coach, quote, "I hate the first 2 weeks of training camp. They need to restructure the offseason."
How though? Like, how
it used to be, they went to their lumber mill job during the off season, and they
sold cars,
and they'd show up 40 pounds out of shape.
They'd have to get them in shape.
They'd have to get them back in shape.
But Joe Burrow is rolling out to throw a pass and strains his calf. What does restructuring the off season? What does it do? It's just sometimes freak injuries happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody rolled up on him,
right?
Those guys have the red jerseys. You don't touch them, and he rolled out and tweaked his calf a little. I think Joe will be fine. So love that kid. Hope he does well this year.
Just throw it back here since we played the man, the myth. This had to be 3 or 4 years ago now. Jalen Ramsey just got paid, and he arrived to Dolphins training camp. Where was he at?
No.
Jaguars?
Jags, yeah.
He arrived at Jags training camp with a hype man,
armored car,
a Brinks truck. The guy had the megaphone.
Yeah.
Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is.
Turn it on.
This man covers so good, he finna have his own cell phone service.
Okay.
The man's so good, they finna give him his own jail.
Okay.
Called daily towing. Because these receivers are on 24-hour lockdown.
Got it.
If you check his pocket, he got 8 master locks in his pocket.
Okay.
They're on lockdown all season. The man, the myth, Jalen Ramsey.
Unbelievable. What I wouldn't, if we signed a new deal here to stay at 97.3 The Fan, what I wouldn't do to drive up in a Brinks truck and have a guy on top.
Foster.
Hey, the men, the myths, the legends, Ben and Woods. Oh God, I would do anything.
We're gonna need to make that happen.
Ben lost so much weight, a stiff wind will blow him over in a second.
All right, let's move on. We talked yesterday about Colorado joining the Big 12 in 2024. Saw a report from Brett McMurphy, NCAA insider for Action Network HQ. He says the Big 12 will add between 1 and 3 schools to join Colorado in 2024. They will first seek others from the Pac-12 to join. If none do so, the Big 12 would add 1 group of 5, and then he says UConn, Memphis, San Diego State, or UNLV to reach an even number of teams in 2024. Had my adult league basketball game yesterday. A guy on my team is a massive SDSU fan. He goes, "Hey, Pac-12? Pac-12?" I go, No. San Diego State should be focusing every bit of energy they have to get into the Big 12.
Unfortunately, though, the timing doesn't work. As you just said, Paulie, they want to add someone for 2024, and now the Aztecs can't get out of the Mountain West.
Figure it out.
Until 2025. Well, I mean, it would cost them $34 million. I think Colorado's getting $31 million a year from the Big 12. So if San Diego State got an absolute full share, they'd still end up $3 million in the hole just starting their year before any expenses or anything to get out of the Mountain West. I don't know that they can do that, and I don't know that they have the wherewithal. So I still think the best hope for San Diego State is that the Pac-12 stays together right now with the 9 that they've got, and they get a decent TV deal, and then they'll be desperate to add San Diego State. They can't go on as a 9-team conference. They need 10 at least as soon as possible, and they probably will need to sweeten the offer and say, yeah, you can come in pretty much as a full member as well, because we need to even things out. 9 doesn't work very well. Like when you're putting together a football schedule and you've got, 4 games on a Saturday, who's playing that 9th team? You like to have an even number, especially for football, because most weeks of the football season, conference play for, October and November, you want, even number of teams. So they're all playing each other. If you sit someone on an island and they're looking like, hey, we need a non-conference game on October 27th, and everyone's going like, we're in the middle of conference play, man. There's no one to play. It's very difficult to do that.
They're looking to add either. It says between 1 and 3. It looks like it's going to either be 1 or 3.
But the Pac-12 will have to add between 1 or 3 as well to get to 10 or 12 now. With USC and UCLA and Colorado leaving, they're the Pac-9 after next year.
My eyes glazed over.
Too much math.
Just
again.
Conference talk.
Too much math.
I grew up in Notre Dame.
If you're San Diego State,
I
I was talking to a buddy who's a massive Pac-12 guy. He says, you do not want any part of the Pac-12. It's a sinking ship. Get out of there. He goes, if I'm San Diego State, you want to follow Colorado to the Big 12 because it's a basketball conference.
Yeah, true.
San Diego State football does nothing.
Right.
It doesn't move the needle at all.
Right.
I am sorry. It doesn't. We are a basketball school. It always has been.
Embrace
it.
Yeah.
Play Kansas twice a year. Play Kansas State twice a year.
And
play
going
Baylor twice a year.
But going to an even depleted Big 12 football would still be more interesting than what you're running out.
Okay, so who's your marquee teams left in the Big 12 for football after Texas and Oklahoma are gone? Your 2 big boys are gone. You've got TCU left.
That's marquee.
They're not bad.
Not bad.
They're
in the national championship game.
They're not bad.
They were in the national.
And then,
that's like saying the Aztecs aren't bad. They were in the national championship game.
Like Baylor. BYU.
Colorado,
West Virginia. It's Texas Tech. It's not a great. It's not a great conference.
Let's
do the Pac-12 then.
Let's do it side by side.
They still have Oregon, Stanford, Washington.
Washington State,
Utah. Washington State is probably one of the lower ones.
Right.
I hope Shell's not listening. But traditionally, still, I would say the top of the Pac-12, if it stays together, is better than the Big 12.
But does it feel like it's going to stay together?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if the Pac-12 doesn't stay together, San Diego State, there's nowhere to go except for the Big 12.
You do want to say anything is better than the Mountain West, right? And that's I think that it's not a great slogan. At least we're not in the Mountain West, right? So either of those would be okay. I think Big 12 would be a little more elite because
is
of
at
the
least
basketball.
comparable, and then the basketball.
Yeah, football's comparable.
My buddy goes, you play Kansas State, and Baylor twice a year. He goes, you win 25 games in that conference, you're in the tournament, guaranteed. Don't have to ever worry about it. You win 25 in the Mountain West, you're probably not making it.
That's a good point.
Worst case, I would say, is if the Pac-12, if like Oregon and Washington bolts, Stanford bolts, wherever, Big Ten, if they get an invitation, maybe the Mountain West says so long to like San Jose State and Hawaii, the lower level teams, and they pick up like a Cal and a
lot of maybes
Washington State, and you have a better West Coast, but it's still pretty much a 6th best conference sort of situation. It's not a true Power 5 anymore.
Yeah.
And San Diego State really wants to get into one of those Power 5 conferences.
You got to, because you're right. They don't move the needle, but they could in the right situation.
Paulie's point, basketball, Kansas comes into Viejas Arena every year. Baylor comes into Houston, comes in every year to play basketball.
Come on.
That as a basketball conference, that is really exciting.
That's solid.
We're a basketball school.
Yeah. And if the football is comparable, but the basketball is way better, that's what you got to do.
It's an easy answer for me.
So it's going to cost them money, a lot of money. But I think it will pay off in huge amounts after they get it done and pay. Right?
Let's wrap it up here with possibly the worst food mashup of all time, and we've talked about a few of them, especially in this segment. So next week is National Mustard Day.
Okay, like mustard.
So French's Mustard has partnered up with Skittles. Mustard flavored Skittles are a thing.
Would you rather have mustard flavored Skittles or Skittles flavored mustard?
Oh, Skittles flavored mustard.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
close. Yeah, no question.
So they're not selling them at least not yet. You can win them.
You put that on a hot dog, Skittles flavored
mustard.
Incredible. People love to do the sweet and salty bit now.
Don't put mustard flavored Skittles on your hot dog. Though.
Correct.
I don't know that would work out too well.
Ooh, maybe.
Look,
I might be able to be
Is
convinced.
it Skittles that we determine are the exact same flavor of every single one, no matter what the color is?
They're sprayed with like an aromatic whatever, and it's they're all the same.
They all taste the same.
Like M&Ms are all the same.
If you blind taste test, you cannot say
sure.
Yes.
Gummy bears. That's why gummy bears are always better. They have distinct different flavors.
I think we've done this before, but I'm going to ask it again. If you gave me a lemon Skittle, I couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't say lemon.
Well, Paul says they spray it with like an aromatic, so it might smell slightly different.
Where's the GIMP mask?
I got it.
Because
we don't have any Skittles.
We might in the vending machine.
There's a vending machine.
You want to wear it and try?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. As long as I don't want to put on the GIMP mask.
Just an excuse. You just don't want to eat Skittles with your.
I don't really like
with your beach
that's
body.
True. I'm not.
If you want to try,
I'm not cheating with Skittles. I'm waiting for homestay tacos. If I'm not cheat.
If you want to try mustard flavored Skittles, you can sign up for a chance to win a bag. Go to French's.com/mustard Skittles. It could be yours.
Right. I'm gonna go look for some.
This is always a bit. I saw dill pickle flavored hard seltzer like on the market this week. Doing a story on that.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
But you want publicity. Yeah. That's why you do it. Skittles flavored Ben Higgins. I would eat that. I would eat not the mustard one, but I would eat Skittles flavored mustard on my hot dog tonight at the ballpark.
I mean, flavored mustards are a big thing.
Delicious.
For sure.
Yeah, delicious.
Spicy mustards, brown mustards.
Like the stone ground.
Sweet, like a honey sweet mustard.
Yeah,
I mean,
delicious.
How far is it from a honey mustard to a Skittles mustard?
Right. Delicious.
Now, what if it was like electric, like the color, like the purple or whatever? You'd like that.
Wouldn't
as well.
it be better?
Instagrammable?
Yeah,
very Instagrammable hot dog.
Wouldn't it be better than just your plain yellow mustard on a hot dog?
I know. I love a hot dog with plain yellow mustard.
I'm gonna get one tonight at the ball game. You know that.
Where are the best hot dogs? Do you go for the regular ones or do you go like Barrio Dog? What do you do?
I just get the.
What are the best
Friar
Frank dogs? Just a regular Friar Frank.
That's what I get.
Nothing fancy.
I'm reading here. People don't believe that Skittles all taste the same. I'm reading here. It says.
Well,
They
don't
all
sway
have
me.
the same taste.
Okay.
Each individual color has a different scent.
Okay, this mask will probably mask the scent.
That's true. It blocks your nose a little bit.
Yeah, and
can you taste the difference in the Skittles?
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's a rainbow of flavors. Is their whole? Isn't that their slogan? Rainbow of flavors. No,
it's a rainbow of flavor.
It's just one flavor. Everybody.
Yeah, it's a rainbow of flavor. One flavor.
All guests on Bennett Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today. Don't worry about the Skittles yet. We have Jake Peavy coming on next. All right, just have him standing by. All right, we'll talk Skittles with the newest Padres Hall of Famer, or we won't when Jake Peavy joins us coming up next on Bennett Woods. 1 hour left this week on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. I have to say, I think the 2007 season by our next guest may be the greatest pitching season I've ever witnessed up close, gotten to cover and seen in person, a good number of the starts. The triple crown of pitching wins, strikeouts, and ERA. Led the National League in all three, made him a very easy choice to win the 2007 Cy Young Award. And tonight, he will go into the Padres Hall of Fame and pregame ceremonies at Petco Park on a Friar Friday. It is a pleasure to welcome our guest to Ben and Woods. Jake Peavy is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Jake, congratulations on the big day. Good to have you back on the show, man.
I appreciate the very kind words. I don't have words to adequately describe how excited, how honored, and humbled we are to be joining a great group of men. Last night was super special. And then tonight, having a chance to celebrate and with the fans is going to be super special.
You got a lot of you got a lot of interviews and media.
What was last night? Was there a dinner or something?
Yeah, what
that goes along with
night?
that?
What can you share?
Like
last
the Masters,
night
you get to pick the menu?
No, we didn't pick the menu. It was just a wonderful evening. We went over and they unveiled the statues that they're going to live in the Hall of Fame for John and myself. And that was, it's emotional seeing those. I think one of the coolest things about both of our statues is John has a nice shot on the back of his with Tony Gwynn. And we all know how tight that John was. We all were to Tony, but it's just a great shot of John and Tony. And then on the back of mine had a shot of me and Joe, the two 44s together, and just showing that the tradition and some of the stuff that's alive and well on that board is living on through some current players, having, just the Padres greats around. And we spent some time, had a little cocktail dinner on the field there, which was super special for the families and everybody to go out there and be in that environment. Then we went inside and had a dinner that we passed a microphone around. Truly, Eric Grubner said, you know what, we're going to open this microphone and pass it around and to hear what was said by so many people. Really just, I can't make this about me. Going in with John Morris and who John was and the fact that we were all sitting in there in that ballpark, the fact that we love downtown San Diego, John's just such a huge part of that. I witnessed it firsthand, watched him work his magic. So just super, super special times for us. Just got to get this team turned around and hot.
Yeah, I agree. And hope always springs eternal on opening day. It really doesn't matter what ball club you're a fan of. And we had you down on opening day, had such a blast with you. And I don't think, we've been accused this year of maybe shilling and selling some optimism, but I don't feel that way. I don't. And I feel like, nationally, the perspective was, this team is going to be really special. And it just hasn't happened, Jake. And what, you're an analyst now, you're on the other side. And when you look at this team play baseball, what are you seeing? What are you not seeing from this team?
Well, that's a tough question because it's really hard if you're not with the team and have a pulse on
Sure.
what's happening day to day. And that's something I do not have. I'm going to reference this, I think, speaking to the crowd tonight. I am an analyst and get and I have a job from that desk, but I'm a Padres fan first and foremost now. I sit on the same side of the ball as everyone else is going to be at that game and just have a little bit different history getting to my fandom. But I look at it and pull in a hard way. And you're right. I do try to analyze what's going on. To me, it just hasn't gelled. The chemistry and the vibe, the fun atmosphere that we're looking for. And a lot of that comes with getting on some hot streaks and winning. And it just seemingly haven't been healthy and haven't all been going. Seems like if Manny's going incredibly well, like he has been, some of the other guys are not going with him. Vice versa. If it's Soto this week, I just don't think that at one point in time, everything has been clicking. And then you get the efforts from Snell and Musgrove, Hader, and it's baffling because the amount of talent that they do have on the roster is the most talent that we've ever seen in San Diego. I said that opening day, and I still believe that. Sometimes John Morris said it best last night. It's baseball. I think you're going to figure this out. it's baseball,
Yeah.
you know, and it's been extremely disappointing for me as well, because I was alive and well during that playoff run and living it and breathing it as you guys all were. Here's what I'll say and what I'll continue to do. I believe, and I get asked this all the time, what's it take to win a World Series? What's it take? Well, it takes incredible commitment from a really deep roster and then on through the front office and coaching staff. But what I do know more than anything is that we talked about it. We believed about it. We dreamed on it. We sat anytime we had a chance as players, and we told the message to the team, to the fans and the other people around us, hey, this is our goal and this is what's going to happen. I don't care how it's going to happen. I think that when you hear me from now on, I'm going to talk about a World Series championship in San Diego, because I know Peter Seidler and the rest of his group is very serious about that happening. You got to talk it. You got to believe it. And us as fans, we got to get on the bandwagon and stay on it.
Jake Peavy with us here on 97.3 The Fan. He's going into the Padres Hall of Fame tonight. Ceremony will start at 6:25, so get to the ballpark early so you don't miss a minute of it. And Jake, you mentioned on your bus that you saw last night a picture of you with Joe. I think a lot of fans know this, but Joe wears number 44 because he was a huge Jake Peavy fan growing up as a Padres fan. He will be on the mound tonight pitching, awesome. And can't imagine it's a coincidence that the opponent will be the Texas Rangers, and Bruce Bochy will be there as well. How much does that mean to you that Boch, your skipper from those days, will be in attendance for the game tonight?
Yeah, super special. Again, for me and John both, we have such a special relationship with Boch. Last night being with Kelly Towers meant the world to me. Kevin Towers was as good to me as anybody, and this organization wouldn't be where we were without Kevin Towers. So you think about all the greats, people that touched your life, and Bochy, and I don't think being any bigger. So to have him in town, Chris Young, the general manager, longtime teammate here, me and Chris pushed each other, and we're a really good 1-2 top of rotation for a couple of years together. And I learned so much from Chris. Will Venables with that team. So having some of the Padre faces back on the Texas side, going to be fun tonight. I'm worried about speaking to this crowd. I haven't been nervous to do something in a long time. I feel like I might as well be pitching tonight.
I got a piece of advice from a stand-up comedian one time, Jake, and I was going to try stand-up, and he told me, his name's Craig Gass. He texted me, he goes, right before you walk on stage, tell yourself, I don't care how this goes. And I thought about that for a second, and I did it, and it actually worked. It kind of calmed my nerves a little bit. So tonight, you just kind of take a deep breath and say, I don't care how this goes. I think in an instance like this, you speak from the heart. Fans are going to get behind you 100%.
Right before you go on stage, just put some icy hot.
Or I don't recommend. I don't recommend that tonight, Jake. It'd be a very quick speech, maybe very fast speaking.
I love that you confirmed that story on opening day. One of my favorite moments in our show's history. Talking to the great Jake Peavy here on Bennett Woods this morning. I wanted to ask you too. You are a guy that was traded in your career, traded to the Chicago White Sox for 4 players. So there are guys right now in the that are unsure. I'm sure there's a couple of guys right now on the roster that keep looking at their phones and, kind of let their mind wander a little bit. It's got to be tough for a player. And you've lived it before, Jake. What are they going through right now?
Well, they're going through uncertainty, like none of us like in life.
Yeah.
Anybody listening, imagine that that you're thinking that at any point in time your job's going to call and you're moving. It's just a stressful time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be alive too, because you most of the time get thrust into a better position. And if you're a ball player that's wanting to win the World Series and your team currently doesn't really have that good of a chance, I got thrust into 2 incredibly great situations that I was thankful for. I left here and went to Chicago. There's a lot of moving parts when you get traded. And we see last year with Hader, you get Hader over here and you expect everything to be seamless. And I said this on the air not a few days ago about being traded. When you get over, you have a whole new bunch of teammates, but you have a whole bunch of new coaches that you're prepping with that are talking to you, and lingo's different. Your family, your wife and baby are trying to pack up in the old town you lived in and get you moved out to a new place. There's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes, and you see it sometimes with these big contracts. When a guy goes to a place with a big contract and expectations and everything's new to him, all his coaches, and Trey Turner's experiencing a lot of that in Philadelphia now.
Yeah.
Great ball player, just not performing. There's a lot that goes into being traded, the pressures, and then the outside life that all of these players have that doesn't really get talked about is impacted greatly. But fun time to be alive during the trade deadline, I can tell you.
What's it like the day you walk in, you got your Padres bag, I'm assuming, and you walk into the White Sox clubhouse, and you know some of these guys, I'm sure, and you've competed against some of them before, and just like, hey guys, I'm Jake, happy to be here. How does that work?
Well, look, I'm not gonna talk about me going to Chicago. I'm gonna talk about me going to Boston.
Okay.
Right. And because I just mentioned something about believing and talking about winning the World Series. When I walked in Boston clubhouse from Chicago, I got traded from almost a last place team that had no chance into a team that was battling Tampa Bay for first place. And I walk in, I tried to beat everybody to the field because I wanted to get in there and meet all my new clubhouse staff. I wanted to meet my trainers. And I get there at about 12 noon in Boston. We're playing this night, and it's an ESPN game, so it doesn't even start till 8 p.m. Eastern. and Dustin Pedroia is in the room, Johnny Gomes is in the room, and Jared Saltalamacchia. There were 3 players that were already there at noon for 8 o'clock start.
Wow.
That was what wasn't coaching staff wasn't all there yet. And so I introduced myself to Dustin Pedroia. I knew him just a little bit. Dustin, Jay, good to see you. Same thing to Johnny Gomes. I didn't like Johnny. Johnny was a player that just rubbed me the right way.
Sure.
I didn't like hitters anyway. You give me any excuse not to really like it. Johnny was that guy. So, but again, you swallow your pride now. It doesn't matter what you felt about it. This is your teammate. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Jake Peavy, nice to meet you. And he said, I'm doing great, pal. It's another day closer to the parade.
Wow.
And I didn't know what he was talking about, right? And I went over to the last guy. My locker was right next to Saltalamacchia and Lester and David Ross. And I got over to Salty, and I knew Jared the best, and set my stuff down, and we got to talking. And I said, hey, I've got kids, and they're all going to come up here. And Johnny just said something about a parade. And what am I missing in Boston? Right? And Jared Saltalamacchia looked at me, and he said, he's talking about the World Series parade, buddy. He goes, we're winning the World Series. And I looked at Jared Saltalamacchia and knew it was real at that point in time. And I said, that's what I'm here to do, bud. That's what I'm here to do. And so when I talk about talking about it, making it a goal, not having it talked about, our words are powerful, and the fan base gets on board with that and sees. And we had an extra special Boston Strong with the bombings happening.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of synergy of togetherness from fans. The community starts to feel it, and we all felt it last year in the postseason. You get on and you ride that wave. That's what it's about. And look, you guys are going to be sick of hearing me say it. I want this city to experience a world title and a championship. I want to watch these parade, the gas lamp in this place turn upside down like I witnessed it. It got to be a chance in other places. This is home, and I just am going to do everything I can do to push us in direction and us talk about doing something that's never happened here in San Diego.
How do you feel about working out of the bullpen a little bit?
You guys do not want that. I can promise you this. I'm a way better Savannah Banana these days. Strict pitches.
I saw as we brought you on, I mentioned that 2007 season, Jake, when you won the Cy Young, and I remember I was there for opening day in San Francisco, 7-0 win over the Giants. Kind of had a feeling something special might happen this year, but did you know, like that year, were you just locked in all year long? What was it about that year in particular that made you so dominant?
Well, I think it just all came together in the right timing of things. I talked about Kevin Towers and how important he was. 2004, when we moved down here, it kind of coincides with I won the ERA title that year in 2005. I led the league in strikeouts, so I felt like I was becoming a number one guy. And Kevin Towers and Boach, they were telling me again that you're the best pitcher in the NL West with Kevin Brown, Jason Schmidt. They were feeding this to me. Kevin calls me in the offseason of 2006 and says, we just signed Greg Maddux. And I had a dog named Maddox when I was little, being an Atlanta Braves fan from the South. I was excited until he told me he was paying him $10 million. I said, what? me and CY and these other guys need that money. He brought in Kevin Towers brought in Greg Maddux. Me and Chris Young sat with the best right-hander to ever put on a pair of spikes, 350 wins. And he taught us what we thought was prep wasn't quite enough. What we thought was taking our throwing and our bullpen serious wasn't quite as serious as the best we're doing it. And so, look, that when I think about 2007, I know that I had a lot of success. I did that on the backs of what Chris Young was doing right alongside me and what Greg Maddux was doing through me in helping me manage being a big league starter in a better way than I'd ever done before. And look, it's hard for me to take credit. I say it a lot of times. Greg Maddux won his fifth Cy Young right through me.
Wow.
Just didn't have the talent.
That's amazing.
You know, I'm looking at that season, and it's interesting because you guys had gone to the playoffs in 05 and 06. Expectations were high, and you got to the end, and there was a lot of pressure to win because the Rockies were red hot. You and Greg combined for 8 wins in the month of September. Oof. Ultimately, you finished a game short, losing in the game 163. But what is it when you get down to this point in the season, like the Padres are this year, and you feel like every game is must win? You know you can't win every game for 2 months, but every loss right now for the Padres just feels so devastating. How do you handle that in a playoff and end of the season run like that?
Well, it's so cliche, but you cannot do anything but take it day by day.
Yeah.
Like what I'm hoping happens, honestly, is you get to a point where my message to the Padres is, what do we got to lose at this point in time?
Yeah.
Right? We've done played ourselves in a corner. We've got nothing to lose. Can we just go ball out? Forget about everything. Let's play for each other and let's go be the studs and the dogs that we are. And then you get on a run, possibly like that Colorado team got on. And their odds, I promise you, were worse than what the Padres are right now in middle September. And that team got in and ended up going on to the World Series. And you see last year, all you got to do is get in. Philadelphia just scratched their way in to a National League pennant last year. You just got to get in these playoffs at all costs. I love the wild card. Without that third wild card, I would think that we would almost be in a true seller's position right now and have to look at it from some instance there. But it's a tough thing. The standings and these teams in front, aren't going to back down. We certainly know the Dodgers. And look, you just made me think of something. John Moores, I'm not sure. I'm going to guess at this, but I think the Padres may have 5 division titles in their history. One belongs to Mr. Kroc, I believe, and 4 others belong to the man going in tonight, John Moores, under his watch in 96, 98.
Yep.
5
no, it's true.
I believe, and I believe that's
you're
the last
right.
time
There's only one person who is involved in all 5 of the Padres division titles in franchise history. You know who it is?
I don't. I should.
He was the manager for 4, and he was the backup catcher in 1984. Bruce Bochy has been involved in all 5 division titles for the San Diego Padres in franchise history. Jake, I really appreciate it. Unbelievable. Good luck tonight. You don't need luck. Just be yourself, and it'll be absolutely fine. People are going to love you. They just want to honor you, and that you certainly deserve it. So congratulations, man, and thank you for joining us.
I appreciate that. And if I don't articulate myself this way tonight, the most important thing that I will do is thank the people of San Diego, the fan base in San Diego, the way that all of you have treated me and my family.
I'm about to run.
It makes me emotional right now.
Dude, I love that.
How am I going to do tonight?
You'll be all right. You will. You'll be all right.
I appreciate it, guys.
I'm about to run through a wall right now.
Yeah,
I literally am about to run through a wall.
Jake Peavy,
that was amazing.
Padres Hall of Famer on our Premier Chevrolet Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Malls. Chevrolet, find new roads. Gonna react to that.
I'm so hyped. We're winning the World Series. That's how I feel.
I'm sure you've seen it because Woods has seen every YouTube video out there, I think. I saw a YouTube video with Jake yesterday that I had not seen before that was absolutely incredible. I will share that coming up next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Anybody else ready to run through a brick wall?
That was unbelievable.
For the great,
man.
very emotional, very, very heartfelt Jake Peavy interview that just happened. That was one of my favorite moments. The story he told about the Boston entering the Boston locker room was ungodly. It's just, I love baseball players. They tell the best stories. And that one's up there for me. That was great.
Jake also, of course, pitched for the Giants at the end of his career. And I'm sure you've seen this. I don't know how I missed it, but I was doing some Jake Peavy research last night, and I ran across a YouTube video of a game in which Buster Posey was catching, and Jake was on the mound. And whatever happened after the pitch, like Jake got distracted and was yelling something out at the shortstop, and Buster didn't see it.
I know.
And he threw the ball back to Jake,
Yeah.
who wasn't
You've
looking.
never seen this?
I had never seen it.
Oh, it's so good.
And Jake just has his glove kind of perched under his chest, just sitting there, but he's not looking. He's looking the other direction. And the ball just flies directly into the glove.
Yeah.
And Jake looks down and goes,
It's so good.
Where did the
You've never seen that?
No, I've
Oh,
never
it's
seen
so
that video
good.
before.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
It's beyond brilliant. It's just the look of surprise. And
I didn't catch this ball. Where did it come from?
man, I was very it does make you think. And when he talked about when he walked in the locker room in Boston, and players are different, everybody's different. But when he mentioned the three guys that were there at noon
for an 8 o'clock
start game, it was Dustin Pedroia, Jared Saltalamacchia, and Johnny Gomes. And I told you guys in the break, honestly, probably if you said, hey, name me 5 baseball rats, they'd be in there.
Guys you love to hate if they're on the other team.
You absolutely loathe them. But if they're on your team, bro, and the guy's there 8 hours before first pitch, he's not a guy that is going to take a play off. He's not a guy that's going to give away an at-bat. They're there. They're learning about the night's opponent. They're ready. They're getting themselves mentally and physically ready. The baseball rat that those 3 guys were, holy crap, dude. What a story.
I think what I've ended up liking so much about Manny is knowing that the opposing fan base hates him. They hate him.
100%.
It makes him more my guy.
100%. Same.
Because I know that, you got to have his back more than anyone else's, which
That's
is
exactly
probably why
right.
When he got hit, it felt even more imperative to defend that guy.
Got me off my feet maybe for the first time this season and up screaming at the TV because that's
if
my
Angel
guy too.
Perdomo had hit Taylor Colway, no offense,
Right,
but
no.
we're not even talking about it that much the next day. So, by the way, in addition to the Hall of Fame ceremonies tonight, Padres have coming up, and I have I have to put it on my straw hat. On Monday, you can get your own Padres SDG&E straw hat. First 47,000 people in attendance receive a straw hat. It's a day game on Monday, August 7th. This is the next homestand against the LA Dodgers. This is a perfect San Diego hat.
Well,
My new dog walking hat. Oh, do I?
Yeah.
My new dog walking hat. Oh, God. Beaches, sunny days, whatever, ballpark.
I'm just going to hold
nice.
mine.
Brown
I'm
trim,
going to hold mine up.
Brown adjustable strap, leather patch on the front if you're wearing it the front way. Again, the game starts at 1:10 on August 7th. Gates open 90 minutes before the first pitch. Arrive early, only first 40,000 fans, and they've pretty much hit 40,000 plus every day, at least for the last 20, 30 games or so. You can go to Padres.com/giveaways to learn more. Go to Padres.com/tickets to get your seats.
Now, I've got one of the hoodie giveaways, the home white pinstripes. It's like a thin hoodie. That's my favorite giveaway every year. What date is that again?
That one's not on that sheet. I mean, I have a different sheet for the hoodie. Let's see if I can find that. Go ahead and vamp for a second.
I've got it here.
Let's see. Straw hat.
Wednesday,
Hoodie giveaway. Here we go.
16th?
August 16th, Wednesday, August 16th, presented by Serve Pro. Similar to the home jerseys, this soft pinstripe hoodie with brown sleeves and a front pocket is perfect for cool San Diego nights. Sizes include youth large, medium large, extra large, and double extra large. I might be going down from double X to extra large at some point here. That's a 5:40 first pitch on Wednesday, August 16th against the Orioles.
California cowboy hat is what I want to call it. Because it's got the top like a cowboy
It's
hat.
central close ranching, maybe wine country. It'd be good if you're like growing wine grapes in
Or
California.
like a weed farmer.
Yeah, would work as
wear
well,
those.
for sure.
California cowboy hat. Go get yours.
Then again, you're trying to disrupt my diet in here as well.
Yeah,
Tacos.
our
It's
friends,
the dilemma always.
bro. Our friends from Home State just came again and brought us more tacos, breakfast tacos. They're unbelievable. They have a location in Oceanside. It's incredible. It's just incredible. They brought us a bevy of breakfast tacos to choose from. It's maybe the greatest perk of this job is the food and things like that. But this is unbelievable. So, we're late. We need to go to break.
Well, speaking of food, the much awaited now Skittles taste test. Woodsy's got the Gimp mask and the Skittles. He thinks he can tell the difference between flavors of Skittles.
There's no question.
But as Paulie has told us, there is no difference. So he should not be able to identify which Skittles are which. We'll find out who is right when we come back. Our final segment of the week. Ben Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, final segment of Ben and Woods this week. This hour on the Fan brought to you by Hint Water. Delicious, fruit-infused water with no sugar or diet sweeteners.
You telling me they all taste the same?
More than 25 amazing flavors.
Wow.
We're only going to make you identify 3 Skittles coming up here.
Okay.
But they have 25 amazing flavors, including watermelon and pineapple. I will not be giving you a watermelon Skittle. I don't think that exists. Hint Water in stores or delivered from hintwater.com. So here's what we're going to do. When traffic comes on, Woodsy's going to leave the studio.
Yep.
And then I'm going to tell everybody the order of the Skittles, because I can't talk about it while he's in because he'll know. So I'll give you the order of the Skittles. Woodsy will come back in. He's going to put on the GIMP mask, and I will feed him the Skittles one at a time, and he will give his guess as to which 3 Skittles he just consumed.
Give me the answer.
Aren't they have 5 flavors? Let's do all 5.
You want to do all 5?
Okay.
All right. Is there 5 flavors? Oh, yeah, there's 5 flavors. Taste the rainbow.
Do the order, and then don't tell me if I'm right or wrong yet, and then tell me how many I got right at the end.
Right,
okay?
exactly.
All
so
right.
I will give the entire order. You have to. Everyone's going to have to memorize 5 Skittles in a row, and I will give the order. And then, so Woodsy, you leave. We'll do traffic, and we'll come back, and I'll give the order next on 97.3. Don't put the GIMP mask on until we wave you in. All right, go ahead.
The Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family. Here's Kelly Danick.
Winding down our morning commute with a few problems here. Southbound side of the 15 before West Bernardo, an accident involving a car and a semi. That is over to the right shoulder. Also traveling south 15 right before the 8, a collision over the right shoulder, and an accident clearing from the Home Avenue off-ramp, south 805. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, this will be a little easier if you're watching on our YouTube screen because I can hold up the color of the Skittle as I give it to him. Yeah, but if you're just listening, the order of the Skittles will be green, orange, purple, yellow, red. Green, orange, purple, yellow, red.
Purple, yellow, red. Okay.
So that'll be the order as we go, because I don't want to spoil it by telling Woods if he's right or wrong, because then he's going to start guessing.
Right.
So that's going to be the order. All right, let's bring him in. Woodsy, take your seat, get comfortable. Put on your mask so you can't see what you're about to eat. And the audience now knows the order of the Skittles. Of course, we're testing. Oh,
he's just going to look at the YouTube chat. He can't see.
He can't see anything.
There's
an extra layer on the eyes that really prevents you from seeing anything. I know from experience. All right, so here we go. Flavor number 1. Go ahead, open your mouth. All right, you've got 5 choices. I'm not going to give you the answer right away, though. The audience knows the order.
It's green.
Okay, here comes number 2. You ready? You need to clear your palate. You need water or anything?
I'm all right.
All right, here comes number 2. Open up.
That's orange.
Okay, let's go with number 3. Show the audience here. Ready, and 3.
Purple.
Okay, let's go with number 4. Here we go. Number 4. You don't like touching his tongue or mustache. That's always the worst part of this.
Oh, it's yellow.
Okay, and number 5. Here is the last one for Woods. By process of elimination, if you think you're right.
Yeah, it's red.
All right, so out of 5, here are the final answers. You got 5 out of 5 right.
Very
you got
well
them
done.
all correct. You tasted the rainbow of
told
Skittles.
You, it's not even close.
Absolutely correctly. Even
the only one I was dicey on was the first one.
Paul, you want to eat some here? Anyone want some more Skittles? Because
I got those 5 for 5.
So even though in the factory they're made exactly the same, Woods seems to be able to tell the difference of the color of the paint that they put on top of them.
The only
was
one.
It taste or smell?
Taste. 100% taste.
I didn't even give him a chance to smell.
No, you can't smell.
I just popped him right through.
He did.
And he got it. He absolutely got it.
The first one I was dicey on. The rest I was like, no brainer, no brainer, no brainer, no brainer. But I was like, man, maybe the first and the last was it. 5 for 5.
I'm impressed. You may be, you know what a super taster is? They say about 5 to 10% of the population. I think my wife is a super taster. Like people who know wine really well and can tell the difference. Oh, that's definitely a Zin, or that's a cab. And I'm like, oh, I think it's red. Maybe it's white. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's wine, most of us don't really know, but there are some super tasters who can really discern the differences between subtle differences.
Well, weird because you let me taste candy and I can do, yes, I'm a super taster. I can do the candy bar challenge too. Anytime you guys want, I will name those like boom, boom, boom.
Whatchamacallit, Milky Way.
Bro.
Don't even do that. That'd be fun. I'd like to do that sometime.
Don't even waste your time. Like you give me Baby Ruth. I mean, name it.
You have a textural component with those that makes it a little bit easier. Skittles, they're exactly the same texture. Obviously,
you could put them in a blender and pour them down my throat. I can tell you, oh yeah, it's a whatchamacallit. Oh, it's a Payday. Oh, that's that's an Almond Joy. That's a Mounds. Like I do have a very, very sophisticated palate for sweets. After the first one, I went, oh crap. Like it hit my brain that these all taste the same. And I was like, all right, get it out of your head. I wonder
if we should have not just done all 5 flavors, but just randomly, like
just like green, yellow.
Not necessarily, but because after you get 2 or 3, it's just
it's
like,
process of elimination.
It's clearly this doesn't taste like lemon at all. It's got to be red.
Taste on Woods.
Taste on Woods.
That's so good. Somebody put that in the chat. That's so good.
Did someone just qualify for a trip to Las Vegas there? I don't know.
Me, myself.
You can't really beat Woods. A 5 for 5 is a perfect score.
I got all of them right. That's one of my more proud accomplishments, man. That really is one of my more proud accomplishments. I do like this mask.
Oh, do you? You've never been on the other end of the mask.
I have not, really. I mean,
I've lived in that thing.
I put it on at home to scare my kids when I bought it, but even that was a little much. I probably regret that decision.
It's comfy. It's not
the worst.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fairly. I get it. I think.
I mean, for something that's supposed to be, part of, a sadist or masochist sort of thing, it's very comfy.
It is so good at blocking out light.
You look especially weird with the little mustache, the white mustache. It's like you could be hacksaw under there now.
React to me. I could sleep in this, I think. I feel like.
You hear me talking, hillbilly boy? Nah, man. I'm pretty far from okay.
Paulie, that got me so good.
You hear me talking, hillbilly
Especially
boy?
with the mask on and your headphones on, and that's what you're hearing in your ears. We might have had Ving Rhames in studio. You wouldn't even know.
Oh my god. What a moment.
What a scene.
Moment. What a great drop. Dead. I don't know how to recover from that.
Well, you don't have to. We're close to flubs in just a couple of minutes.
I'm dying right now.
I mean, talking to Jake was great, and the ceremony is terrific, and I'm looking forward to it tonight. I'm going to be at the game as well. I know you're going tonight, and it's going to be fun to see Jake and John Morris go into the Padres Hall of Fame. The game is obviously incredibly important again for the Padres.
Massive, dude.
Joe Musgrove will be on the mound against Dane Dunning, who's had a really nice season for a team that's having a really nice season under Bruce Bochy, and they've done it without Jacob deGrom. They signed him in the offseason. He gets hurt. That could really unravel any team's chances. You go, oh man, we invest all this money and we don't get to see hide nor hair of them all season long. And the Rangers have been good throughout. Now they've been challenged lately. The Astros have made a run. They held them off a couple days ago and won the series finale impressively, but their lead in the AL West has started to get a little dicey, a little more tenuous. So these are big games for the Rangers as well this weekend, which makes this another critical series at Petco Park, like they all have been lately, obviously. But
obviously, yeah.
This is the last full series before the trade deadline on Tuesday. As we said earlier, I feel like a sweep either way does actually impact the Padres' decision of what they're going to do. What will probably happen, win 2 out of the next 4. You'll still be in this kind of no man's land, and they could go either way. But if you did sweep or you did get swept, I think the writing would be fairly clear on the wall at that point.
And Corey Seager, we will miss Corey Seager. I don't know when he's due. He's on my fantasy team, so I'd like him back after this series. It's fine. I'll wear it. Corey Seager's out. Obviously, when he's in the lineup, that's a guy you cannot let beat you. He's really, really good, as we've seen many, many years as he torched the Padres when he was with the Dodgers. Old friend alert. Travis Jankowski. Would it surprise you?
Yes.
Okay.
It would surprise me.
Would it surprise you to know that Travis Jankowski his OPS is 822 this season?
Yeah, that would surprise me.
It is surprising.
Because he never had any S.
Right.
He was with the Padres.
Yeah, it was the OBPs over
speed
over 400.
Slug he did not have.
You got a couple of guys there that you can't let beat you. And Marcus Semien is probably one of those guys as well, having a pretty nice season. They're just solid, dude. You look at their OPS numbers for their team. Damn near every one of them's at 800.
They've done it with the lineup. Their pitching's been decent,
800 and above,
but their lineup is been very solid and very deep all season long. Unlike what the Padres have been able to put together with, quite frankly, bigger names than the Rangers.
No question.
I mean, the rookies that have come through for them, you can't never expect that to happen. Who they got? Jonah Heim, Nathaniel Lowe.
Yep.
And they have one more guy, a rookie, who's been performing like all-star level for them, I believe, as well. But they've had a lot of contributors this season to get to where they are unexpectedly. You say the Padres have been
Josh, is it Young or Jung?
Young.
Yeah, Josh Young, third baseman.
So yeah, three guys who really came out of nowhere.
20 bombs, slugging a ton. So yeah, I mean, they're a really good, solid baseball team. But again, a beatable team. So listen, I have no predictions. None. Zero. Not one. Have fun. Play baseball.
There we go.
That's it.
I'd do what Jake said, lay it all, play for each other, lay it on the line, see what happens tonight.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, last couple minutes. Let's finish up the week with some flubs. Sit down at a California-style blackjack table or play some Texas Hold'em poker. Book a solar battery installation. Book a solar
What is
battery
installation? Tatis has paid the big bucks to be our shard. Damn it. I have done it again.
I haven't heard much. The organization, Bob Melvin.
Who is Bob Meller?
Because Penske Lincoln's Dong Days of Summer sales event is on right now with
Benny and Call, a public safety power shutoff.
The meteorologist at STNG. I'm in trouble too.
The ump show is starting in 4 minutes.
Let's go, babe. Sherwater's behind the dish.
Come on.
The dish.
And of course, San Diego State taking on number 14 Yuha on Yuha. Ring it.
All right, we'll play this audio for you.
Guys.
Gnarly.
It's gnarly.
Out of St. Louis, California. First hour of Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us on Wednesday morning.
Glad to have you with
you wherever we are. And both times, Austin Nolan drove in the one run.
Who is Austin Nolan?
Browns, Bengals, Ravens, 3-2-2 teams in that division. Ballast Point Beer, the official craft beer of the San Diego Padres, at Ballast Point in Little India.
He's not 35.
But he will be before the contract is done.
What is a contract?
Holiday season is almost here.
30 days, half September.
And that is do this for a Wednesday.
Don't.
Ben and Woods back after checking traffic on 97.3 Fan. He's got the fifth most wins coaching time, all-time coaching. Fifth most, yes. February 12th, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. State Farm Stadium.
That's not what I heard.
It's not what I heard either.
Our first sound from Padres Spring Training 2013. I think when a veteran pitcher is having success with those numbers, 6-year history of Major League Rugby.
I'll give you
Rugby?
Sam Spring San Diego's number one sports station, 93 The Fan.
We're just talking about Landon Jonovan.
Who is Landon Jonovan?
All right. Back after a check of traffic here on 91.37 The Fan. Almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out.
And then, of course, Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe. Paul Reindl. It's our executive producer, YouTube director.
What's the director?
He's the director.
The Sockers, they haven't lost the season all home, so we need you out there.
Greg Elston will join us with some streaming television. In which Grammy-winning Beatles song does Paul McCartney sing about the words that go together well? He was our man on the scene in the Beast of the Belly, Dodger Stadium.
That's all, folks.
You had your Landon Donovan flub, and I had my do this. Now I was there yesterday when Landon's team played the German team, Borussia Dortmund. I was surrounded in the press box by like 40 German reporters, and so don't do this. Don't.
You sat in the press box.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I sit in the press box?
Your media.
There's a little placard that said Ben Higgins, ABC 10 News,
Did it really?
right on my chair. comfy little chair. It was nice.
Okay.
You have a problem with me being in the press box at Snapdragon Stadium?
Feels braggy.
I won't be in the press box tonight. I'm sitting
with the commoners.
With the people.
Down with the thin commoners.
I mean, not down. I mean, we're on the terrace level, nice seat.
Right.
I will be in a regular fan seat tonight.
What will you eat tonight with your new svelte body?
What
won't you
know
eat?
what I had last time? It was great. I got a chicken bowl with vegetables, no rice from the Seaside Market, and it was fantastic.
I've gotten that before.
It was very tasty.
Yep. Chicken teriyaki, veggies.
Yeah, I did no rice just because I'm not doing the carbs right now,
good.
but you can do it with the rice, and it is a fantastic, healthier option if you like to go that direction at Petco Park. Or maybe I'll just have a hot dog, and I've already had tacos today.
That's true.
This day maybe
you want to take this mask home with you, or
no, you can save it. You can have bring it home to Hannah. See what she thinks.
Might need it for bits.
We'll save it back with Paulie.
You hear me talking, hillbilly boy?
We need that drop. I need that drop way more than it's used on this show. It's one of my favorites.
Paige and Chris Foster.
You hear me talking, hillbilly boy?
Hey, y'all call me.
So when the next time we come back Monday morning, still be before the trade deadline, but who knows what will go down this weekend. There will likely be a lot to talk about by the time we get back on Monday morning at 6 a.m.
Thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it.
We will talk to you then. That's it for today. Thank you for the home state tacos. They were delicious. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins, Coach John Quintero, Braden. Coming up next, stay tuned for more on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, and have a great weekend, everybody.